over here cursor. Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube are going. We are live, it says. Keyword,
Good.
it says.
It says we're live.
Hi, guys.
What's up?
I'm not going crazy today.
Yeah, things are going.
Like last week.
Hope and prayerfully things are going to go right tonight.
They went right last time.
They
It's just I
did.
was in a rush to finish stuff
That is true.
last time.
True.
Do you see my phone anywhere? I just realized it's not in front of me.
No, I don't see your phone anywhere.
It's in here somewhere.
Well, it is an apartment or Studio B. So it's somewhere. So Drew has come off camera. You can see his shadow moving around or his hand. Where is your phone? Hold on. Let me call it.
I call my phone. I didn't. Camera.
Oh, that's funny. That is too funny. Hope it comes back. Please come back.
Please come back. It'll come back there first before it comes back on Facebook and the other.
Yeah, I gathered. And those people were nobody's chiming in yet. They're like, "What in the world happened?" I was like, "Well, you see,
I'm an idiot.
aren't we all idiots?"
I was on it earlier. I got home, so it should be here. Stitch, I need you to sit up here for a second.
There it is.
Thank you, Stitch. Please don't fall over,
Yeah, thank you.
dead Stitch. That still hasn't come back on. has
No, it hasn't.
Okay. Double check all my connections.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know how to fix it if it's not there.
Nothing.
Give it a second. I gotta get back over here and reset it. I put that in my pocket. I need it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Camera. You can't change devices while recording. Oh, I see. It went to Streamlabs, my Streamlabs thing.
Oh, so might want to stop the stream first.
Yeah, this will be quick.
Mm.
Really?
Uh-oh.
Hold on. It's not the end of the world because of the way this thing works. but-
No.
Rise of the Guardians. See, it's already coming up there.
Good.
And we're back.
Awesome.
Don't you just love technology?
Exactly.
Especially when you accidentally bump a camera.
Yeah, when you're trying to be funny.
Okay. I need to mute this.
So yeah, guys, this is our second
Yeah.
attempt.
Second
doing-
try.
Second try.
Take two.
Take two. First, start off with somebody misplacing their phone.
Oh, hardy har har. Because everything else is working at the moment.
Exactly.
Keywords there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Paul J. Powers liked the video that
Just went dead.
just went dead.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's listed separately now. Can I delete that?
Who knows?
Yeah, yes, I can. Delete the post. You don't have required permission to access this profile. It's my profile.
Oh wow.
I created the page. Why don't I have access to my own page?
I don't know.
I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'll worry about it later.
Yeah.
Which means I'll forget about it. What I do need to bring up is trivia.
Notes and notes.
Well, the notes, I know where they are.
Hmm.
Under Facebook. Try that again. Yeah, whatever.
Hey guys, if you're just joining in, this is Jacob.
I already said I'm Drew.
Okay. Yeah, we're Cellcast, and we're reviewing this time around. We're reviewing our DreamWorks Rise of the Guardians.
Which I keep wanting to call Legends of the Guardians, but that is a different movie.
A different movie for a different time. So if you haven't seen this movie, thankfully it's currently streaming on Netflix right now.
Indeed.
So if you want to go see that before you listen to our review, go over there and check it out if you're subscribed to Netflix. And come back, watch us on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube.
Mhm.
And if you want to wait until Saturday to listen to the audio, go to your favorite podcast catcher, our directory.
Can't even think of your word for
No.
it.
You know how long it's been I said directory?
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Of
because
course.
it's what I do.
Of course.
If I didn't give you a hard time, you'd think something was wrong.
Probably.
Yeah, we're gonna get started here in just a moment.
Mm-hmm. I have some weird eyebrows.
Okay.
That's like-
If that's really that big a deal for you, my friend. I do need to click this button right here.
Yeah, because it looks like we're constantly doing what is it, the people's eyebrow that Dwayne Johnson always does? No, that's people's elbow or something like that. What is it?
Are you talking about Groucho Marx?
No. What about Groucho Marx?
Well, I mean, he's got weird eyebrows.
That is true.
Yeah, it looks like it's working.
Good.
It'd be nice if that thing changed color so I would know for certain. but
Yeah, that would be nice.
Whatever.
Mhm.
Whatever.
All right, so guys, we will be reviewing this movie fairly shortly. We had kind of like a rough start.
Yeah, but we're past that now.
We are past that. But yeah, we'll get started shortly and let a crowd fill in when they do.
People come, people go.
That is true. I know a couple of people that we have connections with are going to see Top Gun Maverick tonight.
Oh,
Yes.
good movie.
Yes, very good movie. Highly recommend it to anybody. But like, even if you haven't seen Top Gun, which is you haven't watched Top Gun, just saying.
Well, go see Top Gun. Didn't see Top Gun Maverick.
Exactly. You
They're
can
both good movies.
apparently you can see on not Paramount Plus, which would be obviously you can go see it on Paramount Plus, but it's available on Amazon Prime right now for free. And apparently my girlfriend had to pay, I think it was like $3.99, $2.99 to rent it. And then the next week it was free.
That's just wrong.
Agreed. That was wrong beyond belief. But yeah.
All right. Are you ready to start?
Yeah.
You got a pun for me?
Yes.
All right. I think I got one for you too.
Mm.
Starting in.
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
welcome to another episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who has got to get a bunch of eggs delivered across the world, like in the next 2 days. Welcome, Jacob.
Man, my legs are sore. That's going to be hard. That's leg all day for 2 years.
Yeah.
Why? Thank you. Let me do this. Our co-host, a man who simply is trying to find a tooth and a memory, apparently. Welcome, Drew.
I have no idea why the man in the moon did this to me.
That is, true. It is a little bizarre, but apparently he has a purpose for it.
I guess. Anyway, how are you doing, Jake?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Week's going pretty good, and some new things are coming up the pipeline, which I'm excited about. And other than that, it's going pretty good. How about you?
So far, it's been okay. A couple things coming up.
Okay, cool.
Get into it later. Before we get too much farther into this, we need to talk about. We need to ask our trivia question.
Yes, we do.
And that trivia question is: in Rise of the Guardians, funny comments on a time when Jack Frost caused a blizzard on Easter. What year was this?
I think, according to the comments, it was 1938.
No, it was not 1938.
Oh, what was it then?
1968,
68. I knew there was an 8 there.
which your girlfriend got
There you go, Ashley.
along with Heather. But we had two people who decided to put 2020.
When this movie came out, when?
2012.
Oh, yeah, you're quite a few years off.
Don't think that's
Don't think
what
it
they were
works.
referring to in the movie.
No.
But yeah, that is an act that actually happened though on Easter 1968. There was a blizzard
Yeah,
and it snowed a bunch of people in.
that is hilarious.
But I mean, it's technically possible because I mean,
Right.
Easter can come early enough that the snowstorm could hit it
Right.
sometimes. So
So true.
anyway, so how are you doing, Jacob?
I've
asked once
you-
before, but
you
I'll
have
ask
it.
again.
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. I'm looking forward. Be like, this looks like it's gonna be a good week. Preferably, hopefully, everything goes right, and be like things don't go and nutty like they sometimes do. The weekend looks like it's gonna be fun. There's a festival coming up where we live, and I'm gonna be part of a booth with our singles group, and then me and my girlfriend are gonna walk around this apparently gonna be very large festival in the town we're from,
Mhm.
or I'm from. He moved to.
Yes.
And that just sounds like fun. And plus, I think Jurassic World Domination's coming out this weekend. I think
Dominion. But I
Dominion.
believe.
That's what
But
I'm
yeah.
looking for. Dominion. Which I'm not looking forward to, but I've already seen the rest of them in theater. So why not go see this one and see how much I think this movie is going to fail or maybe course correct in possible ways. I highly doubt it, but
But Chris Pratt will be in.
yeah, it's true.
He's in everything.
And apparently he voices everything.
Apparently.
But yeah, it's going pretty good. You?
I've had a good week. I
Mhm.
had a little bit of a busy day yesterday,
Yeah.
but other than that, it was a nice, good, relaxing weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I'm looking forward to seeing Jurassic World Dominion or not, because let's face it, the Jurassic Park movies don't really do good on their third ones traditionally.
That is true.
And after
Alan.
after that second one of Jurassic World
Oh gosh.
Fallen Kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I have no idea where they could go with this.
Yeah, I've got an idea of what they're doing. It's like, okay, at least try to course correct something.
All I know is if that girl is not like that was technically a clone and let all the dinosaurs go at the end of the last one.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, please, like anyone cares. If she's not like the dinosaur princess in this movie, I give up. That would be interesting. It would be bad. But it's like, you know what? This is not as stupid as it could be.
That is true.
'Cause I have a rule when it comes to bad movies.
Mm,
If you can't be good, be interesting.
that is true.
Because if you're dull, who cares?
Yeah. And also, speaking of bad movies, I put a poll out there yesterday. yesterday, and I got some really good feedback about bad movies. Well, first it said worst movies, but
that made no sense.
That made no sense. I had to go back and correct it. So apologize for all those who were raising their eyebrows on what are you talking about, Jacob?
The worst movie of what?
Yeah. Yeah.
The worst Titanic movie? There are 3 of them.
Apparently.
Not counting the live action one that everyone knows.
Mm-hmm. The worst animated movies to ever, come out. And I had some really good suggestions. And that might become a month, possibly.
Maybe,
so just, stay tuned. It might happen, it might not.
We're talking about it.
Yeah, it's in discussion.
But before that, I do have a question for you, Jacob.
What's that?
What have you been watching?
Okay. Well, I finished Star versus the Force of Evil.
Mm-hmm.
That was an interesting series. The ending was kind of out of the left field. I was like, okay, so you're gonna spoiler alert for Star the Force of Evil if you haven't seen it. Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna give. I don't care. Yeah. So apparently, in the end, it'd be like they have to destroy all magic in the known universe which they live in. And I'm like, okay, that raises so many more questions. Like, okay, be like all these other characters who are magical disappear, but others don't because they're a main character connection, which makes 0 sense. Because literally there's a pony head or a unicorn head.
Is this all evil Sailor Moon's fault?
No,
you don't know which character I'm referring
to.
I
don't have idea.
There was an episode. It's like one of the few episodes of the show I'd seen.
Yeah,
where she meets her mentor or something.
Oh,
and she looks like Sailor Moon.
Oh yeah. She's like
very obviously meant to be Sailor Moon, but the character is essentially.
Oh yeah, she's crazy,
evil.
Absolutely nuts. And
so I call her Evil Sailor Moon.
That makes sense. When you said that, I was like, oh yeah, that character. So yeah, be like the ending makes no sense. And it's like, okay, then you get worlds merging for no reason. It's just like, okay, this is weird. Be like the second episode before the conclusion. Be like, that was really good. They were leading up to something, and then they kind of went into this, and then they went into, granted, now Star is a teenager. She's like 14 years old.
Yeah, she's a magical teenager.
She's a magical teenager who's known for getting in trouble, not doing the right thing, being completely irresponsible most of the entire season. Except for like the 3rd season, she kind of wises up a little bit. And then everybody kind of just follows her lead. And it's like, oh, let's destroy everything. Let's destroy everything we're based on. And yeah, and then it eliminates certain things, and then it just does nothing to a certain pony head. I'm like, shouldn't that just it's so weird. And then it's, let's merge things. I'm sorry if I'm spoiling anything for that TV show for those who have never watched it. I'm sorry. I apologize. I need to air this out because I have no one else to talk to about this. So, and thank you again for listening. Or you're more like, oh my gosh, you just spoiled the show I'm halfway done through with. I apologize if I just ruined your TV show.
Shame.
Yeah, pull out the pitchforks. But yeah, it was just like, it was a good series. The ending was kind of questionable at best. It was like, okay, this is cool, but it leaves more questions than anything. Okay, what happened to this character? Why is these characters now deceased and this character still alive, even though they're just a head that's magically floating? And you allegedly destroyed all the magic in Muni and all the connections to Earth, which apparently Muni's Munins, that's what they call them, Munins.
Yeah, I know.
And they're apparently humans that crossed over. Apparently, it's interesting, but it's the same time be like, okay, but then you destroy everything, but half of it breaks. Then it's so confusing.
If I had seen it, I could maybe help you with this, but
right.
I haven't seen it, so I have no idea.
I got you. Totally understand. Be like, if
there's probably some logical thing they threw in, like for a short half second.
Yeah, and I probably just caught it,
and because that happens.
It does. It does.
It's like the end of Gravity Falls, where they. He starts getting his memory back. I'm not going to say who.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, he shouldn't be able to do that considering how he lost his memory.
Yeah.
But yet he does.
Yet he does.
Which means the villain could come back.
Mm.
But anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, be like if we have fans out there who have watched Star versus the Force of Evil, can you comment down below somewhere and like help me understand why certain things happen and why certain things don't? Because I'm still slightly confused on the ending of this show. It was a good season until the very last episode, and it's just like, huh? What? Okay, interesting. It's either or. So I watched that, and I started watching, or I kind of started rewatching the Ultimate Spider-Man on Netflix, not Netflix, but Disney Plus, and that's fun. It's definitely it's a different approach how they do Spider-Man traditionally. Is that
the one that's got J.K. Simmons reprising his role as J. Jonah Jameson?
I think so, because it pulls a lot of the fourth wall, where literally Spider-Man pulls himself out of frame to talk to the audience.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Okay, yeah. So that's fun. Obviously we watched Top Gun Maverick. That's an amazing movie. Go watch it.
Yeah.
If you haven't, go for it. If you haven't watched the first one, what are you doing? Go over to either Paramount Plus where you can watch it, or you can go to Amazon Prime and go watch it for free. So go watch it. It's a good movie. Some of it makes somewhat sense. And plus, my thought was watching this one that Maverick shouldn't be flying a jet anymore, but flying a cargo plane full of rubber dog stuff to Hong Kong.
What?
You've seen the original Top Gun, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the point where the admiral of the ship he's on in the when he gets shipped off the Top Gun, the line in which the admiral says, be like you screw up just this much, be like you're going to be flying a cargo ship full of rubber dog stuff.
That wasn't literal. That was not supposed to be a literal. This is what's
I know
happen.
It's a joke, but my first thought, this is what Maverick should be doing.
Well, obviously he didn't, because Iceman saved his butt 100 times.
Apparently.
But anyway.
Anyways, yeah. So yeah, that was my first thought. I was like, okay, this is what this movie should start. But no, he's in a hangar with $1 million plane, and a guy. Because I actually talked to pilots about this, and it's like, yeah, he couldn't afford that if he tried at that salary.
It was technically a government project.
No,
you're talking about the Mach 10 thing at the beginning.
No, the World War II plane. He's the hangar and the whole bit. The place he comes hangs out. That is like a multi-million-dollar plane, and
maybe he
Captain
made some good investments.
Maybe, or maybe it's just Tom Cruise's plane and he wanted to.
What happened is that what's the guy's name?
Tom Cruise?
No, the character.
Oh, Maverick.
Yeah, well, I know Maverick. His actual name.
Oh, you're talking about oh crap! You had to say.
Anyway, we'll just say Maverick.
Yeah, Maverick.
Obviously, that's not Maverick's jet, or not his plane. That's not his hangar. That's his good buddy Tom Cruise's hangar and plane. The fact that they look alike is just a strange, crazy coincidence.
But yeah, it's a good film. Go watch it. What was? I'm always trying to recall what we watched over at Chase, because we always watch something. Because I'm drawing a blank.
We watched Stitch.
We did watch Stitch. That's right.
The only thing we got to.
That is true. We did watch Stitch. It's the anime that came out.
I didn't even know there was a Stitch anime, and it's on Disney Plus.
It is. That's right.
Yes.
That is interesting. Let's say that.
So anyone who didn't think there was already anime on Disney Plus before Star Wars Visions, it was there. It was called Stitch.
Yeah, the series, which is apparently
with fake Lilo.
Yeah, with fake Lilo. It's not Lilo.
It's not Lilo. The character is not Lilo, because Lilo is apparently in college by this point.
And apparently Lilo decided to go hang out with another girl from Hawaii that came over to Japan.
You mean Stitch did?
Yeah, Stitch. That's what I meant.
It's like, are they actually still family? Are they just good friends?
Yeah. Did they have a falling out? Because when you were first explained,
Why
it was
did
like, why is
why did
Stitch going to
Stitch-
college?
Why didn't Stitch go with her to college?
Exactly. But apparently they needed to bring Stitch to Japan.
Well, of course, because that makes sense. If you're going to have a Japanese show, you just have a
You- you-
Japanese cast.
Mm-hmm. You got to bring your main character from Hawaii to Japan.
Yes.
But either or, be like, it was interesting. It was fun, but it was you're scratching your head while like, what's going on?
There was a lot of, do what?
Uh-huh.
I don't know what's happening here.
Me
Now,
either.
Granted, I have not watched Lilo and Stitch the series
Mm.
or Leroy and Stitch. Except
Mhm.
Leroy was in this, wasn't he? Isn't he the yellow one?
I'm not sure. I'm not the Stitch fanatic who has watched everything.
And you call yourself a fan.
Hmm.
Also, that was not Stitchies. He kept using in that movie in the show.
No.
That was the worst. It's like, I know you didn't get Chris Sanders to come
Yeah.
back and do this, but why did you not actually use the language that they made for Stitch to use? Why
'Cause,
did you just make random Japanese noises for this?
the one that got me was like, it'd be like you start listening to it's okay, this sounds like Chris Sanders. It does in some cases, but when you hear Stitch talk for a longer, like his dialogue's longer,
You can tell his
you
voice
can
is
t-
deeper.
his voice is deeper. He just starts talking like a normal person. And
Yeah,
well,
it's
the
like
longer
that's-
he talks, it's like, okay,
That's not Chris Sanders.
that's not Chris Sanders.
This must be after he was working heavily on the How to Train Your Dragon series.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Anyways, so yeah, we watched that, and yeah, I think that's about it, except for a lot of YouTube, which I normally do
Right.
for history and a whole bit. Other than that, that's all I've been watching. What about you?
Whale.
Whale? There's no whale in the story.
I watched, of course, some more Spy Family.
Mm-hmm.
Great show. Yours brother has some sister issues. We'll say he needs help, and let's just say, at the moment, he and Twilight are not on good. Sorry, Lloyd are not on good terms. They don't know it yet, but they are on opposite sides of the conflict.
Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I am being purposely vague,
Okay, that makes sense.
but you know that Lloyd, being a spy,
Mm-hmm.
he's on one side of this war,
Mm-hmm.
and yours brother is on the other side of the war,
Oh, okay.
Cold War.
Interesting. Very,
And
very
Yor
interesting.
doesn't know it.
Oh, okay. Dun dun dun.
But yeah, and that was. I'm enjoying that. I'm trying to bring this up because I can't remember everything I've watched. I've watched a couple of movies
Okay.
this week. I can get over there. So
Mhm.
actually watched 5 movies
Really?
this week, besides counting Rise of the Guardians.
You actually made me remember something for a minute, but continue.
I watched Rebirth of Mothra,
Okay.
Tokusatsu,
Mhm.
Japanese show.
Yeah.
From the 90s.
Okay.
It's definitely a kids movie.
Hmm.
It was interesting.
Hmm.
I didn't know Mothra could get that fluffy. I mean, literally, it looked like a stuffed doll.
Huh.
More than those the Tokusatsu characters normally look
Right.
like.
Right.
This literally looked like you could see some 4-year-old hugging it. Some 4-year-old hugging it as you're going as she's laying down to sleep.
I gotcha.
It's
Gotcha.
that fluffy.
Gotcha.
And there's a lot of glitter in that movie for used for special effects.
I gotcha.
But yeah, it's an interesting movie.
Okay.
Kind of an environmental flick,
Okay.
but because that was a big thing in the 90s.
Hmm.
I also watched the movie Free Guy.
Really?
That's the Ryan Reynolds video game.
Yeah.
movie. It's interesting.
Okay.
It kind of the game kind of works like Fortnite, except doesn't.
Okay.
It's like it does not have the battle royale mechanic where you've got to, it's kind of like an MMO but yet it's a weird thing.
Okay.
It's a weird game, and he somehow, because he's able to get a hold of the sunglasses that all the quote unquote heroes wear,
Mm-hmm.
he's actually able to play the game
Okay.
and becomes super popular because he's actually an advanced AI that Taika Waititi's character stole from these other two programmers.
Oh, okay.
All the NPCs could do that, but he's the first one that actually did it.
I got you.
His base programming was based on a character for the previous game that was perfectly suited to fall in love with one of the heroes. I'm not going to get into how that happened, but
Okay.
it's interesting. It was a fun movie.
Okay.
There's actually a great cameo at one point, but I'm not going to tell you about it.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard of this cameo.
It involves Chris Evans.
Yeah.
It's great.
And a certain shield.
Yeah, it's a great moment.
Okay.
And then I watched Caravan of Courage, an Ewok adventure. It's a movie from the 90s.
Wow.
It is definitely a film of its time, and I will never watch it again. Because, I know why this isn't canon anymore. You know? It was a cheesy Star Wars adventure movie that did not have any, it did not need, the only thing that was Star Wars about it was the Ewoks were involved.
Oh, okay.
It could have been set any time, any place.
Gotcha.
And the story would not have changed. Change the Ewoks out for just, I don't know, Teddy Ruxpins or something. And it would have been about the same.
Okay.
Nothing about it screamed, this is an absolutely Star Wars movie. But yet it's set in the Star Wars universe, at least of the Legends era, before Disney reset the continuity.
Right.
So yeah, that was a thing.
Okay.
And then I watched a documentary about the making of a movie that I know you don't like.
Ooh. What movie?
Never Surrender, a Galaxy Quest documentary.
Okay.
It was actually pretty interesting how they went about making that movie.
Okay. Well, I would say this be like I would say
He
I
doesn't like Galaxy Quest for some reason.
I'm not the biggest fan of it. I wouldn't say I hate the film.
I didn't say you hate it. I just said you didn't like it.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't understand why you don't like it. I think you missed something early on.
Apparently.
That's a comedy that takes itself seriously.
Well, tell you what. Be like
mostly just giving you a hard time.
Oh, I know. Tell you what, I will go back and rewatch it and see if my opinion changes or not.
Don't force yourself to do what you don't want to do.
Well, like I might challenge myself to watch something that.
Okay.
All right. So be like, are you done with the movies you watched?
I think that's about everything I've watched.
Okay.
Wow,
So
what did you remember?
I when you started talking about movies I've watched, I was like, oh yeah, I remember I was watching some stuff on a Friday, and so I was like, you know what? Be like, I want to watch something I've never watched before, and so I turn on Hulu, and I start looking around. I find this one movie. It's like, wait a minute, this director, this was his last film, and it's starring Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Eyes Wide Shut.
I know nothing about this film.
Good.
I had a feeling with a name like Eyes Wide Shut, I'm going, that's a show.
Yeah.
That's a movie.
Well, it was directed by Stanley Kubrick. It was his last film he ever did in 1999. And yeah, if you're a film buff, you're definitely going to watch this. I could not, in my better judgment, recommend this movie to the general audience at large, because this has a lot of nudity. It has a lot of stuff you don't want your kids watching. Let's say that. And yeah, it's be like your dialogue is like this the entire time. And they repeat themselves over and over again. It's like, what do you want? Be like, what do you think? What do you think? What do I think? What do I think? Dialogue like that the entire time for about 2 hours. It's an interesting film, probably a film I'll never watch again. It was an experience. And then I was like, okay, that was interesting. Need to watch something else. What else is in Hulu? Oh, it's an Arnold movie, The Predator, the original Predator. Get to the chopper. I can't do a
Yes.
Schwarzenegger.
Get to the chopper.
Yeah,
That's not a
good
good
no.
Arnold Schwarzenegger either.
But I watched that and it was like, that's not a bad movie. It's not a bad action, action movie from the 80s. And because I remember watching it as a kid, and I was like, this is weird. As an adult, it's weird. And I know there's a lot of fans out there who are huge Predator fans. And they're like, oh my gosh, Predator's the best thing. Be like, I remember fondly loving Predator 2 more than Predator. But I watched it and was like, okay, this is interesting. Be like, it's very much the 80s action cheese, like, little to no plot whatsoever, but it's just pure unadulterated action. So yeah, I watched that. So when you said, oh, movies, I was like, oh crap, I forgot those 2 movies I watched. So yeah, that's what I've been watching in Plus.
Right. So Jacob, it's time for the news.
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, D-Lit. So in the news, we actually did kind of mention this a little bit earlier. Apparently Fern Gully, the last Rainforest movie, is finally coming to Blu-ray.
Wow.
Yeah. So the beloved animated feature Fern Gully.
Beloved.
Yeah, beloved. It's like, did you
I may have an opinion even though I never finished that movie.
Oh, one of those things.
Yeah, it's like-
okay.
Yeah, admittedly, I never finished Fern Gully, the last Rainforest, as a kid because, well, I got scared about halfway through and we returned it. But I do remember what I did see not liking.
I gotcha. Were you scared of Toxin?
Maybe?
I
don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I just know about halfway through that movie, I got scared and we turned it off.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That's all I remember.
Fair enough.
Of why I didn't finish it. I just remember thinking, oh, Robin Williams is a bat.
Batty.
Does not endear me to this at all whatsoever.
Which oddly enough led to his role as Genie.
Yes, but Genie is a much better character than Batty.
Well, I have very fond memories of this movie when I was a kid.
And good for you. I'm happy for you.
Thanks. So
I know you're going to torture me with it later.
We will get to it. And I will torture him with this movie.
Well, there's plenty of stuff you're planning on torturing me with. I know it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Scratch. So getting back in the news, is getting an exciting news release this summer. On August 23rd, Shout Factory is releasing Fern Gully, the last Rainforest 30th anniversary edition on Blu-ray DVD combo pack, restored from a brand new 4K scan of the original film material. Fans will be able to enjoy the 2D classic like never before. Shout Factory announced that it picked up the exclusive worldwide rights to this film in November. So yeah, if you are a fan of Fern Gully and you've always wanted a Blu-ray of this, like official, updated version of this is coming out. So I think probably pre-order on Amazon, maybe Best Buy, what have you. So yeah, and I guarantee at some point we will be reviewing this film. Hey, you torture me with films, I'm going to torture you with a film.
Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough.
All right. So we're looking to, there's going to be another Walt Disney Studio movie.
Indeed.
Yeah. All new feature film called Strange World. They released the trailer and a poster. Apparently it stars Jake Gyllenhaal and the film will be released in November. It's not saying when, but I would say probably next year. So Strange World. which
It's kind of a send up to old classic sci-fi.
yeah,
stuff,
exactly.
From
That's
like
what
the
it said.
40s.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
It
very
l-
campy, very Flash Gordon,
Mhm.
Duck Dodgers sort of stuff.
The same stuff that
Buck
George,
Rogers too.
yeah, George Lucas wanted to do originally and then made Star Wars.
Yes.
So with all that said, be like, that's all the bit of news I could find when it came to animated movies.
Do you have anything for animated shows? If
Hmm.
you don't, I do.
Okay, then like me.
So, as you know, Hanna-Barbera has made a ton of cartoons over the course of the last 50 years.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
And there is one animated show
that's coming out.
that they did in collaboration with Toho,
Mm-hmm.
in which for the past couple years you've only been able to get a hold of season 1 of.
Oh, okay. Not this season.
And admittedly, they haven't. It's been a while since any of it's been actually released on home video.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, both seasons now, as of yesterday, June
Yep.
6th,
Mhm.
are available on their YouTube channel, on Toho's YouTube channel, because Toho actually owns the rights to it, even though Hanna-Barbera made it.
Okay.
The original 1979 Hanna-Barbera Godzilla series.
Really?
Yes.
I know. I know.
Godzuki and all.
So I'm not surprised Drew is very excited about this because
Oh, yes.
being the Zilla fan he is, or Godzilla
Yes.
fan.
Yeah, Zilla's a different character.
So be like, what do you call what a fan of Godzilla? What do you call people like that?
Kaiju fans?
Kaiju fans. Okay,
Because
that
I
makes
mean,
sense.
if you like Godzilla, you probably like Rodan. You probably like Mothra. You probably like the entire Toho stable. You probably can live with Gamera. You probably like King Kong.
Yeah.
You probably just like the whole thing in general. Now, you have a special place in your heart for Godzilla because he's the king of the monsters.
True.
But, although technically King Kong actually is the one that... Actually, King Kong is the reason why we have blockbuster movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because King Kong, the original King Kong, is
Yeah.
the first blockbuster movie to ever exist.
Really?
Like in the way we think of
that makes sense. That makes sense.
And it was the first movie to like make a buttload of money during the Great Depression.
Mm-hmm. That's impressive.
So yeah, King Kong and Godzilla. But yeah, we are finally getting the original Saturday morning cartoon version of Godzilla that's owned by Toho. At least we're still not getting them on home video yet. But you can go watch it on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Just wait till Shoutbagger picks it up.
And all its cheesy Saturday morning glory.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if you are interested in stuff like that, you can go to Nate Marchand. I'm using his name correct?
Yeah, over at the Monster Island Film Vault.
Yeah, go check out his YouTube as a
podcast.
His podcast. Thank you.
He's finally getting episodes out again.
Yeah. It'd be like, yeah, if you are a fan of that kind of genre, go check his stuff out.
Yes.
We've been on like once.
We are scheduled for another episode later this year.
That's right.
And then I haven't told you this, but at least me, probably both of us are up for one possibly the beginning of next year.
Really?
Yes, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay. Fun.
Yes.
The tension mounts.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I want to do it, but I don't want to force you to do it if you don't want to do it.
Oh.
So definitely I'm probably on that one. You
Gotcha.
might be.
Maybe. Okay.
But we'll see. We'll get there when we
get there.
Anyway, that was the only thing I had.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't even hear about that.
I literally found out about it from Nate.
Oh, okay.
Because he posted it on MIFV's Twitter, and I saw it there, and then I went and shared the same thing. Shared the same
Cool.
YouTube thing on our Facebook. So
cool.
And if you're curious, that show you remember the Godzilla show we watched the review for him?
Yeah.
Those episodes. It's essentially that show, but with classic Godzilla. Except they have their own kind of jabberjaw like animal mascot.
Yeah.
Godzuki. Godzilla's nephew.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Sounds
And
like
he's
it's
a little childish, but he speaks English.
So he's scrappy.
Better than Scrappy.
Okay, that's saying something.
He's somewhere between Scrappy and Scooby.
That's a
He's
pretty-
not quite at Scooby-Doo levels of quality because he is annoying, but
Mhm.
he's not puppy power.
Oh gosh. Okay. Okay.
He's
I got it.
definitely not.
Okay. You
puppy
got me
power.
sold there. You got me sold there.
He's useful because he calls his uncle
Which is Godzilla.
Godzilla. It's got a great theme song, but we'll get to that later. We'll get
Yeah.
to that later.
Yeah. So yeah, that sounds interesting. I thought when you started off with Hanna-Barbera, I was thinking like that little teaser that came out for a show on HBO Max was Velma.
Oh, that Mindy Kaling from The Office is director.
Yeah, that her thing she's doing.
Yeah, I know literally nothing else besides what I just said about that.
Yeah. I thought you were going to talk about that, and you went into
No,
Godzilla. I was like, oh, okay, that went somewhere I didn't thought that it
yeah,
would go.
literally animated by Hanna-Barbera.
That is really cool.
Yes.
So if you are a kaiju fan, go check that out.
Yeah, it's on their YouTube channel.
Have you watched it yet?
Not yet, because I actually have seen the original show back when it was on Cartoon Network
Mhm.
way back in the day.
Yeah.
Back when they still showed old cartoons on Cartoon Network,
Mm-hmm.
if you can believe that ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not seen it in 20 years.
Wow. So
Probably
I
closer to 25 years.
wow. So I think we are forgetting one major thing that it'd be like we record this show on Tuesday. This show comes out on Wednesday.
Saturday.
Hmm?
Our episodes go out on Saturday.
No, but we record on Tuesday.
Yes.
So we don't talk about things we haven't seen yet.
And I didn't say I've seen them. I was talking about news.
That's true, but we totally missed one thing that came out recently. It's called Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, we've
Season-
seen 3 episodes.
Yes, but we didn't get to talk about the
No,
third
'cause we
episode.
keep forgetting to bring it up.
That is true. Yes, it's so good. Just to me, like it's like wait, we just totally missed one-
Especially last week's episode.
Yes,
It's like, oh, you played that card really early.
yes,
Where are you going to go after this?
exactly. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, we are talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus.
Yes.
If you be like, probably most people have heard of this. It's really good. They're in the 3rd episode now, and they
Fourth
brought
episodes out in the morning,
fourth. It's gonna be
along with Ms. Marvel, starting tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. I'm not getting up that early. Forget it.
Oh, I gave up trying to get up early. I just stay off certain sites.
Yeah, just stay up for certain Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to see episode 4. Miss Marvel. It's Miss Marvel. right?
Marvel,
Miss
yeah.
Marvel. I want to say Captain Marvel. It's Miss Marvel. That looks
Well,
interesting.
It's Ms. Marvel became Captain Marvel, but this is the Ms. Marvel that replaced Ms. Marvel
Yes.
when she became Captain Marvel,
Yes.
but not the other Ms. Marvel that was on WandaVision.
Right.
Who's got going by a different name now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's actually been 3 Ms. Marvels. Carol Danvers.
That's right.
Carol Danvers.
Yeah.
Who who got attacked by Rogue back in the 90s, and that's why
Mhm.
Rogue was able to fly.
Yeah.
Because she had Ms. Marvel's
Yeah.
powers.
Resort powers. Yes.
Then there was back during the 70s, there was you get the hip. I guess I don't know if it was black exploitation or what, but they had a black character.
Yeah. Rambo.
Yeah, Maria Rambeau.
Yeah.
And that character appeared in WandaVision,
Mm-hmm.
or at least her daughter appeared in WandaVision.
Yeah, daughter
taking that
did.
role.
Yes.
And then this one, the Kamala Khan,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's her name.
Kamala Khan.
Her last name is Khan.
Yeah. Khan.
Always a good one. And she's Muslim.
Yeah.
But her powers, at least in the comics,
She gets
have an
stretched.
entirely different origin story than all the rest of the Ms. Marvels.
Mhm.
But we know from the trailer it's changing somewhat.
Yeah.
So anyway, it'll be
Anyways,
interesting to see.
that's gonna be interesting. So, yeah, episode 3, Obi-Wan Kenobi, really good.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to bring that up because we,
Yes.
obviously forgot it.
we forgot it last week
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll keep you our thoughts on the
on that show.
on that show as it goes. I'm
But
actually keeping up for a Disney
For a
movie for a change.
And how many are you not caught up on?
I actually, whoa, wait a minute, I did forget something. I think I did. Did I? Did I forget something? Maybe. I finished a certain show you have been hounding me on.
You finished Mandalorian season 2 by last week.
That is true. I did. So never mind.
Did you finish Book of Fett?
No, did not.
Well, then we need to get into a spoiler-free section.
Yes, we have.
Of our review of Rise of the Guardians.
Yes.
Certified fresh and spoiler free.
I helped with that.
That is still clever, man. Props.
Deedlit couldn't find elements of those sound effects out there, so literally that is me.
I gathered as much as probably your throat is right here.
It was tough to record, but I helped Deedlit with that one.
Awesome. All right.
Anyway, spoiler-free thoughts. This is the first time I've seen this movie.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't, for whatever reason, this was not one I, drove the half hour into Tyler for to watch the trailer, to watch the movie when it originally came out.
Right.
And I think part of it is I looked at it and said, oh, this is another one of those. This came out around the same time, I think, as Arthur Christmas. I think.
Maybe.
Within a couple years. Now that I think about it, I think they're both DreamWorks now.
What movie?
Well, one's Aardman. One is Aardman, which was released by DreamWorks.
Okay.
So,
what was the movie you were talking about?
Arthur Christmas?
This came out in 2012.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. All I remember is this was coming out at around a time where it's like, oh, they're releasing a Jack Frost Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. I don't care. That's what it came to is I just didn't care about seeing this movie when it was originally coming out. So this is the first time I'd seen it, but I had been thinking about giving this one a shot for the last couple years because, there's a point where in the back of my mind, DreamWorks is always that second tier studio because they have things like Madagascar.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I think I was also thinking Blue Sky was part of this studio for some reason. I don't know why. I think because for a while 20th Century Fox was releasing both franchises.
Okay.
Both Blue Sky and DreamWorks stuff. So maybe I was convoluting that in my head. I'm not sure.
Possibly.
But DreamWorks is always kind of something that was like, well, and plus, I was not the biggest fan of Shrek.
Fair enough.
So you can understand that I had maybe a bad taste about the DreamWorks films, and they weren't exactly something I just jumped to go see. I mean, heck, the only reason I saw the original How to Train Your Dragon was because it's like, oh, you don't see dragon movies much. I'll give this a shot.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. And now that I'm a little bit more open to DreamWorks stuff, I thought this was one of those movies like, yeah, this is probably one I should give another try. I should give it a shot, see how it is. And so when we watched it, and I just never got around to it till we got ready to review it here. So yeah, this is the first viewing. I thought it was hilarious. There's some parts of this I thought it was like, it's okay. But considering where they actually go with some of the characters, I was impressed that they did that in a kids movie. Because this is definitely a kids movie.
It is.
By every stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, they are trusting the kids to follow them even when things get spooky, which is something Disney used to do, but they don't do it anymore.
True.
So, and because a lot of people just won't take a chance with some kids anymore for some reason. I don't know why.
True.
But this was like,
it's like they don't believe anymore.
Yes. But this I thought was very good. You have some excellent actors in this.
You do.
Mostly I'm thinking of Hugh Jackman as the Easter
He's
Bunny,
a bunny.
Which Australian Easter Bunny, did not see that coming.
I
would assume the bunny might have been from Easter Island, but he comes from Australia and has a boomerang. Sure thing. And of course, you got Santa Claus with both elves and Yetis, but the elves are apparently stupid and don't actually make the toys. We just let them think they make the toys.
Yes, I found that hilarious.
That was weird, but interesting. And then Sandman, who has no voice actor. He is playing himself. And the Tooth Fairy is the only thing that still creeped me out. That is still creepy. She is.
Understood. I think
half
any
bird, half human monstrosity. Not the best character design, I'll say.
Okay.
In my opinion.
I like the concept of be like it's more like a hummingbird, so it flies around really fast and it can get places easy. So it makes sense why you would make it a bird
Her
or her a bird.
Her little helper fairies.
Yeah.
They look fine, but they're also 2 inches tall.
Yeah.
She is as tall as Jack is.
Yeah,
It's
a bit creepy. Yeah, I would agree with you. I agree with you.
And then you got Jack Frost himself. Who's like, admittedly, it took me a while to figure out why he would be a guardian in this, based on what the criteria we were being given. And they're all fighting the boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
That just makes a lot of sense without you even having to talk about it.
Oh yeah, it's a great concept.
It's a great concept. They're protecting kids through mystical means, and it's a great little adventure story that I think kids could get into, and it has a lot to do with some other stuff we've actually reviewed recently. I thought was interesting. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. It was good.
Good. So I think this is my third time watching this, third time or fourth time, because I've really enjoyed this film. I actually heard about it on a podcast called Pottercast. It's a
Harry Potter podcast.
It's a Harry Potter podcast. Obviously,
I'm just guessing.
No, yeah, just a little bit on the nose. The other one's called MuggleCast.
Also a Harry Potter podcast.
Yes. So one of the guys who's on it for the longest time called Freddie. Apparently he was an animated producer in Hollywood, or he helped with animation, or he was a producer in some fashion or form. So apparently he worked on this film, and he would talk about it off and on as this project he's working on, for DreamWorks. And so the movie came out and it didn't do well, but apparently he was like go from DreamWorks because the movie didn't do well, which apparently that kind of is a tendency of happening, unless you're like the director or something like that. Everybody else gets fired, which is kind of an odd business model to get rid of your entire staff basically because the movie didn't do well in the box office anyway. Because you learn later on in
they probably had to cut some costs.
That is true, because it
and rebuild, because I'm sure Disney even was doing that, especially after Black Cauldron didn't do well.
True.
That's why Little Mermaid was in the spot it was in when it was being made.
True. Well, that was more they were shuffling things around because they thought animation was out the door.
Right, because Black Cauldron didn't do good.
That is true, and they were also trying to focus on other things.
Right. And a lot of it would be monetarily reasons, because you invest money in what you think is going to be a sure bet. If Disney was thinking animation was no longer a sure bet after Black Cauldron and some of the other flops, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, totally get it. But so I'll be like on that advice alone, because I didn't see it in theaters. So I picked up the Blu-ray and I was like, whoa, this is actually a really good film. It was be like you have, some very good, compelling story. I found myself drawing to different characters and the course in which the movie goes. And it gets dark. It's a dark film for a kid's film. Like Drew said, that Disney no longer does because it's trying to play safe. Or play it safe, mind you.
I'm just saying, you don't get pink elephants on parade anymore.
No, you don't. So yeah, this was a great film. This was a wonderful film that I think people need to go watch. It might be a little scary for younger audiences, but I'd be like, the reviews I have read over this film is phenomenal. Be like, people absolutely love this. Be like, they watched it as a kid, they watched it as an adult, and this movie made bank. It made a lot of money back when it came to home video. And this is a movie that be like I've seen several times, and when it's like, oh, we're putting new movies on the roster, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll put Guardians on here, and then Drew's like, what movie is this?
This movie and another movie have similar names.
Yeah,
and I keep wanting to call this one Rise of the Guardians, but Rise of the Guardians is the OWL movie that was, I don't remember if it's directed or produced by Zack Snyder.
It's direct.
Of
It's
the
direct.
of a Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman. Is fame the right word? I'm not saying that those movies are bad. It's just they aren't popular amongst a lot of people.
Right. It was directed by Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Bill, I saw it in a resale shop, and I was like, oh, it actually is directed by Zack Snyder. Interesting. We'll have to review it.
We'll
at some
have
point.
to do that at some point.
Exactly. But highly recommend this film. This is a good movie. There's little problems here and there, but overall, it's a great film.
All right. Well, then we will get into talking more about this after we spoil the movie. We will get to spoiling the movie after these bumpers.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Josh Adams,
Ashley Cronin Bitter. To get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast Plus reviews, and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
Geek Devotions is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. They produce a weekly geek culture infused devotional, their podcast Com Talk, another podcast where they talk about bad movies called Bottom Shelf, and another podcast where they read books, allegedly. And there are written articles, all designed to encourage and challenge people in the geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their geekdoms. Find all their content at geekdevotions.com. This show is a part of Pop Americana. For more great shows like this one, please check the link in the episode description. Do you like Star Wars? I don't just mean the original trilogy. Along with that, I mean the prequels, the sequels, the anthologies, the animated shows, and of course, who doesn't like Baby Yoda? Well, if you've been in the fandom for any length of time, you know how toxic the fandom can get. And if you'd like to be able to discuss a galaxy far, far away in a much more positive light, might I suggest searching out The Outer Rim, a Facebook group dedicated to all of Star Wars, and check out their YouTube channel, which you can easily find at Pop Americana, which the podcast you're currently listening to is also a part of. To find that and more, check out the link in the description. I like how every time Nathan James Norman's part there about Culture Box comes on, you get confused.
I don't say confused. I'm like, oh,
why is that playing?
It's like, huh, that's interesting.
I just love the look on your face, like, and you're like, what is going on? Oh, Culture Box.
Culture Box. Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you've heard all these bumpers going off and you're hearing some stuff where it doesn't sound like the audio is great on it.
Yeah.
That's only on our side, thankfully.
Oh,
It may be on the stream side also. I don't know.
Mm.
But on the recorded side, it's perfectly fine.
Okay,
It's
good.
been doing that for a couple weeks now.
Okay, good. Okay.
And I've been listening to everything going through, making sure all our bumpers on that sound good in case I had to replace them. And the only ones I've had to replace are ones where I forgot them and didn't put them in.
Got it.
So yeah,
Got it. Okay.
don't worry about it.
Okay. I was listening to obviously
Yeah.
listening in studio, and it's like, okay, the audio is breaking up, but
Yeah,
apparently
the audio is only breaking up on our end, as far as I know, because it's how it's streaming back. I think.
Yeah.
Because it's streaming from Riverside to us.
Mhm.
So anyway.
Cool.
We had Gaming Animator 07 in chat earlier. She watched apparently Fern Gully in second grade,
Nice.
and then she was afraid the bad guy was going to come out of her closet and get her.
That
I
makes-
think I
well,
understand that.
Yeah, I completely understand being a young child and thinking Pitch is going to come and take you. It's like, yeah, that'd be frightening.
Yeah.
Or come and grab you. Let's say
Or
that.
whatever the name of the monster was in Fern Gully.
Oh, yeah,
But Pitch is a good enough name.
yeah. Well, Pitch is
It's this one.
is this movie. Fern Gully was a total different beast.
But it was pitch black, from what I remember.
Yeah, it was Pitch Black, and it was Jude
because the
Law.
villain was Pollution.
Yes, and voiced by the one and only Tim Curry.
Because that was a good idea.
Yeah, He does very good villains. Be like, ever seen Legend?
He does a great Long John Silver.
Yes, he does. He does do a very good. That is a good movie.
We will be getting to that.
Yes, we will.
Actually, I think Labyrinth after, because next week we're doing Muppets Take Manhattan,
Mm-hmm.
and Labyrinth I know comes after that,
Mm-hmm.
and then because we've already done Muppet Christmas Carol,
Mm-hmm.
Muppet Treasure Island is after that.
Oh, nice.
Give you an idea where we are.
Labyrinth's good. Labyrinth is a very good movie.
Dance, magic dance. I don't know the rest of the song.
And Jennifer Connelly is such a great actress anyway. Like everything I've ever seen her in, she's good.
You remind me of the Babe.
What?
You know, the Babe. The Babe with the power of voodoo.
Oh, okay, gotcha. It took me a second. I was like, "What in the world is he talking about?" It's
I'm
like,
quoting the movie.
He's quoting. It's been a while since I
quoting
watched
the song in the movie. I am quoting a Muppet whose lines were actually written by David Bowie, along with David Bowie.
I'm not surprised.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's I'm looking forward to that movie
eventually
when we get there.
Yeah, I don't know when that's actually on the list because I don't think I put it Labyrinth on the list.
No,
this
it's
year.
not there yet. Not there yet.
That's probably next year.
Yeah. So yeah, look forward to Labyrinth possibly next year.
Probably.
Anyway,
you ready to get into this?
yes.
All right. The following is a hang on. Deedlet. Donka. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Rise. Yeah, Rise. No.
You had it right. It's Rise.
It is Rise. It's not Legends.
No, it's Rise of the
What is the name of the stupid movie? Rise of the Guardians. Okay,
Rise
sorry.
of the Guardians. Thank you.
The following. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Rise of the Guardians. Listener discretion is advised. Rise of the Guardians was directed by Peter Ramsey, and he directed Spider-Man Enter the Spider-Verse.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
It was written by David Lindsay-Abaire,
Mm-hmm.
and he wrote the Blue Sky movie Robots, another movie starring Robin Williams as a robot.
Oh.
And Amanda Bynes is in that too.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
Of all people. Anyway, it is based on the book series The Guardians of Childhood by William Joyce. And he also is the one who wrote the book and actually this part of the screenplay for Epic, which we reviewed recently.
That's right. Yeah.
Getting into the cast, we've got Chris Pine as Jack Frost,
Mm-hmm.
who also played Captain James Tiberius Kirk from the Abramsverse Star Trek movies.
Mm-hmm. Which allegedly supposed to be a fourth one coming out. Allegedly.
Maybe not. Alec Baldwin is the voice of North, aka Santa Claus.
Oh my gosh, I love his performance.
And he's the Boss Baby in Boss Baby.
He is.
Jude Law played Pitch, the Boogeyman,
Yes.
and he played Sky Captain in Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
And also played Watson from Sherlock Holmes.
Indeed. Isla Fisher played Tooth, the Tooth Fairy,
Mm-hmm.
and she played Rebel Alley in the TV show Arrested Development. Hugh Jackman was the voice of Bunny, the Easter Bunny, and he was Wolverine in the X-Men movies. I don't know what I said other than Bunny the Easter Bunny.
Oh no, it's not that. It's
Hugh Jackman as a rabbit. He was a Wolverine, now he's a rabbit.
Oh my gosh. This is I don't want to really I mean like this is something that my girlfriend loves Hugh Jackman.
No kid.
You think? And so like when you said that, I was like, oh, okay. I just started laughing because there's things you talk to as boyfriend and girlfriend you don't want to talk to about not bad things. Do not get me wrong, not bad things, but it's just more there's certain stories you want to talk about, there's certain stories then you don't want to talk about. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
I might cut some of that out.
Okay, good. Because Ashley might pop on and it's like, Jacob, we got words.
Dakota Goyo was the voice of Jamie Bennett, and he was young Thor in Thor.
In
The first Thor.
the
movie.
first Thor. Okay. I thought we were talking about like the newest Thor that's coming
No,
out.
That would be Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes.
No, I mean the one that's just called Thor.
Thor. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
Kingdom Hearts connections for this. Ashley Bodicher
Mm-hmm.
did ADR for this movie.
Okay.
She is Olette in Kingdom Hearts 3. And I love this one. Laura Post in this movie was the audio description narrator.
Really?
Yes. Meaning if you go on to the languages,
Visually
and you pick
impaired.
the visually impaired one,
Mhm.
where they will go through and describe what's
Yeah.
going on screen.
Mhm.
That's her doing this in
Really?
this movie. And she was additional voices in Kingdom Hearts 3. That was how deep I had to go to get something.
Wow.
Outside of, I think some music people were also involved, but I let that one go.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I got for Kingdom Hearts connections. What do we got in info and stuff?
All right. So info and stuff. I think we need a bumper about. There we go. That'll work for now. All right. So
I
info. And
considered this part of the review, so
That
that's
is-
why I didn't make an extra thing for it.
Okay. Either or.
Anyway,
Anyways.
I didn't make them. D-Lit made them. What am I saying?
Yeah. D-Lit made them because D-Lit makes everything.
I didn't mean to take your thunder, D-Lit. I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry, D-Lit.
No, she wants to be Jane Foster. She just wants to will Mjolnir in power.
Apparently, she likes this idea.
Scary. Either or.
Moving right along.
Moving right along before our AI decides to, start hurling thunderbolts at us. All right.
Not something I need.
No. All right.
Info and stuff.
All
Please,
right.
sir.
All right. IMDb has 7.2 out of 10. It's available on Netflix if you're a subscriber to Netflix. Produced by DreamWorks Productions. Distributed by Paramount Pictures, and apparently it was the last movie that Paramount released for DreamWorks. Its original release was at the Mill Valley Film Festival in Mill Valley, California on October 10th, 2012. Also on November 13th, it was released in the International Rome Film Festival, and it was released officially in North America on November 21st, 2012. So box office, it had an estimated budget of $145 million. Its opening weekend for America, this is sad, let's just say that, $23.7 million on November 25th of the same year. Its U.S. gross, that makes sense. It had a U.S. and Canada gross of only $103.4 million. It made a significant amount, much more in its worldwide release, with $306.9 million. Yeah, so this movie, I'll be like, it made money, but then due to promotion and advertising and everything else, it actually lost money, which is sad because this is such a good movie. I don't know, be like, it's just, yeah. But either or, home release, Rise of the Guardians released on Blu-ray 2D and 3D. Remember, this was the age of the big 3D range.
Thanks, Avatar.
Yeah, thank you. I wonder how Avatar 2 is going to do. Comment down below what you think is going to happen to this film.
It'll be very wet.
Good one. Good pun. Very good pun, my friend.
I tried.
Also on DVD on March 12th of 2013. It was the last DreamWorks film home video release distributed by Paramount Home Entertainment since 20th Century Fox announced its distribution agreement with DreamWorks Animation a few months before the theatrical release. The film was successful at home media release rather than at the box office, having the second of the third quarter of 2013, the highest box office to DVD conversion ratio among major releases. The first quarter of the 2013, it sold 3.2 million home units, and in the second quarter, it sold 0.9 million units for a total of 4.1. It was released on DVD on November 5th, 2013, coming with a wind-up match elf toy. That's interesting. It came with an elf toy. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, so if you're collectors of elves, be like, you might want to go find that edition. Just thought I would throw that out there. As of October 14th, 5.8 million home units have been sold worldwide. And July of that same year, going back a couple of months, the film distribution rights were purchased by DreamWorks Animation from Paramount and transferred to 20th Century Fox. The rights were moved to Universal Pictures in 2018 after the buyout of DreamWorks Animation by Comcast / NBC Universal. It was re-released on DVD and Blu-ray on June 5th, 2018 by Universal Pictures Home Entertainment. So that is where the movie sits so far. And if you want to go watch it, like we said before, you can go watch it on Netflix right now.
Right.
So yeah, go give this movie some love. It needs it. That is all I have for info and stuff.
All right. Getting into the summary. Jack Frost awakens from a frozen pond with amnesia. Upon realizing that no one can see or hear him, he disappears. 300 years later, Jack, as the young spirit of winter, enjoys delivering snow days to Skull Kids, but is upset that they do not believe in him. At the North Pole, the Man in the Moon warns Nicholas St. North that pitch black is threatening the children of the world with his nightmares. He calls, I don't know if these are actually the names characters. It's weird because it lists a bunny as E. Aster, as in Easter. Bunnymund.
It's something like that. It's very.
I'm still going with Bunny.
Yeah, Bunny, because they call him Bunny.
The Sandman and the Tooth Fairy to arms. They are told that Jack Frost has been chosen to be a new guardian, and Bunny brings him to the North Pole. North explains to Jack that every guardian has a center, something that they are the guardian of, but a call for help from the Tooth Fairies ends the conversation. Visiting Tooth's world, which resembles a palace in India, Jack learns that each and every baby tooth contains childhood memories of the children who lost it, Jack's teeth included. However, Pitch raids Tooth's home, kidnapping all of her subordinate Tooth Fairies except Baby Tooth, and stealing all the teeth, thus preventing Tooth from sharing Jack's memories and weakening children's belief in her. In order to thwart Pitch's plan, the group decides to collect children's teeth. During their journey, a quarrel between North and Bunny awakens a boy, Jamie, since he still believes he can see everybody except for Jack. Pitch's nightmares then attack, provoking Sandy as the guardian of dreams. Jack tries to intervene, but Pitch overwhelms Sandy, who seemingly disappears. As Easter approaches, the dejected guardians gather in Bunny's home. With the unexpected aid of Jamie's little sister Sophie, they begin the process of painting eggs for Easter. After Jack takes Sophie home, he is lured to Pitch's lair by a voice. Pitch taunts him with memories and fear of non-belief, distracting him long enough for Pitch to destroy the eggs, causing children to stop believing in Bunny, who furiously berates Jack. With the Guardian's trust in him lost, ashamed, Jack isolates himself in Antarctica, where Pitch tries to convince him to join his side. When Jack refuses, Pitch threatens to kill Baby Tooth unless Jack gives him his staff, the source of his magic. He agrees, but Pitch breaks Jack's staff and throws him down a chasm. Unlocking his memories inside the teeth, he learns that he was a mortal teenager who sacrificed himself to save his younger sister dying from hypothermia and drowning. Inspired, Jack repairs his staff and returns to the lair to rescue the kidnapped Tooth Fairies. Due to Pitch, every child in the world except Jamie disbelieves, drastically weakening the Guardians. Finding Jamie's belief wavering, Jack makes it snow in his room, renewing Jamie's belief and letting him become the first person to ever believe in and see Jack. They gather Jamie's friends, whose renewed belief bolsters their fight against Pitch. He threatens them, but their dreams prove stronger than his nightmares, resulting in Sandy's resurrection and the Guardians reuniting. Defeated and no longer believed in, Pitch tries to retreat, but his nightmares, sensing his own fear, turn on him and drag him to the underworld. Afterwards, Jamie and his friends bid goodbye to the Guardians as Jack accepts his place as the Guardian of Fun. Getting into the trivia. As I stated earlier at the beginning of the episode, Bunny mentions that Jack Frost caused a blizzard on Easter Sunday of 1968, a reference to an actual event.
Yes.
In one scene, the Tooth Fairy finds a mouse beneath a pillow and identifies it as One of Us, European Division. Ratoncito, Little Mouse Perez, or the Tooth Mouse, is a children's book character created by Spanish author Luis Coloma in 1894, said to replace lost baby teeth with gifts in Spain, Portugal, France, Italy, and Latin America. In the Spanish dub of the movie, the mouse is even called Perez. A post-film dedication appears for Mary Catherine Joyce, a guardian fierce and true. This refers to William Joyce's daughter who died at age 18 from a brain tumor. The movie was based on Joyce's book series Guardians of Childhood, which was inspired by stories he told his daughter. MK, the main protagonist in the epic, is actually based on that character.
Really?
Yes, or
Cool.
based on that person.
Gotcha.
At the beginning of the movie, Jack Frost walks through a colonial American village. In the background, the folk song village musicians are playing a song called Kempe's Jig. This was a popular early 18th century English dance song named in honor of William Kemp, a famous 16th century English comic stage actor whose work influenced modern comedic acting, stand-up comedy, and improvisational comic skits. Aside from the Guardians and Pitch, none of the adult characters' faces are ever seen. Whenever North is surprised or alarmed, he exclaims loudly with the name of classical Russian composers. For example, he yells, I'm going to mess these names up, my apologies, Shostakovich, just before he falls down the rabbit hole. And Rimsky-Korsakov, that's a lot of eggs, in Bunny's Warren. Relevant composers, Dmitry Shostakovich and Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov. This may be an homage to the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons, where Boris Badenov's favorite expression was Raskolnikov, the criminal from Fyodor Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. It may also be a nod to Irwin Gershwin and Kurt Wells' famous novelty song from Lady in the Dark, Tchaikovsky, the lyrics of which consist entirely of the names of various famous Russian composers, including the ones used by North. In the beginning of the movie, when North is making a train set out of ice, he can also be heard humming the famous Russian composer Igor Stravinsky's Firebird Suite. All of this would also be a reference to Alec Baldwin, who voices North's love of classical music. Pitch's realm's entrance being under a bed is a symbolic of the first bed he ever hid under. Bunny paraphrases Crocodile Dundee from Crocodile Dundee 1986 as he compares his bag of teeth to Jack Frost's. You call that a bag of chompers? Now this is a bag of choppers. It's paraphrased from the infamous "You call that a knife?" line. And this film takes place some 300 years after the source novels. And that's all I got for trivia.
Makes sense.
So what's your first like?
Oh my gosh. They take these very classical characters, or what we call holiday characters, Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy,
childish belief characters.
Childish belief characters. There we go.
Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny are the only ones that are actually tied to a holiday.
That is true.
You've also got the Sandman.
Yeah, Sandman dreams.
Gets people to dreams and gets people to sleep.
Right.
And the Tooth Fairy, who trades out teeth for coins. And technically also the Man in the Moon, the face that you see in the moon when you look up at it.
Exactly. I love how they do the anthology of these characters. Be like, you have like Pitch, for example.
Yeah.
Pitch is be like the way that's like, oh, he's been banished since the Dark Ages. And it's just like, whoa, okay. So it'd be like they really dig into the mythology of these characters. And like you have obviously you have Jack, who's just like the young guy who sacrifices everything in order to save his sister, and that they tie that in with what's the myth he's based on?
The Boogeyman?
No, Jack Frost.
Oh, Jack Frost. He's on Jack Frost.
Yeah, because he's
Literally Jack Frost.
Yeah,
I mean,
Jack Frost nipping at your nose.
Yeah.
So to be like the way they reframe and restructure, like North, the Easter Bunny, wrong character, wrong season. Yeah, I can't talk tonight. I'm getting tongue tied and I can't talk tonight. What shall I do?
Mm-hmm.
So Santa Claus, he's based out of Santa Claus, but how they do it is very well. The fact he's a Russian, what do they describe him as? He's a they use a certain like Russian warrior for the design for North, and I just found that really fascinating how they make Bunny Australian.
Yeah.
And obviously Hugh Jackman is from Australia, and you actually hear his native, how he naturally speaks
accent.
and it'd be like it's really cool. I just find it really interesting. Now the way they do the Tooth Fairy, that's interesting. We've had that conversation
Yes.
already. That's interesting. I enjoy the Cossacks. That's what I was looking for. Cossacks earlier. Cossacks, the Cossack warriors from Russia. And it's just the mythology in these characters are amazing. Just how they restructured them and redesign them for more a modern period and make them more relatable. And Santa Claus being based after Saint Nicholas and other
Who may or may not have punched a heretic.
back
At the Council of Nicaea.
Council of Nicaea. Well, apparently he slapped him instead of punched him. That's what I keep hearing.
Punch.
He either
slap.
there.
He caused violence because someone was saying heresy. So
Yeah, so or be like,
depending on who you talk to, he may not have actually even been there. But
yeah,
anyway.
that's either or. Be like, the use of some of the Norse mythology, because there's a lot of the idea that some of Santa Claus's looks comes from Odin. Just a lot of this really, really well done stuff, and they throw this this Russian like warrior Cossack stuff in there. It just looks really good, and like it's very well designed. And there again, the Tooth Fairy that's either there depending on your viewpoint. But just the way to design everything, the characters, the mythologies, everything, it's just very well done. And it's very intriguing. It's like, wow, why didn't we get any more of this? Oh yeah, because the movie didn't do well in theaters. Like heck, be like in my research on this, be like the fact be like when the movie was just released, they were already considering doing at least two more movies and a series. But due to the box office numbers, that all got shelved and put into deep freeze. Probably never to be seen again.
Probably not.
But I really enjoy what they did with this film, and just like the deep mythology they did with everything. It's just like be like you get this really deep stuff with almost every character, and it's just like wow. Or yeah, you can't forget Sandy. Sandy's just the way they do him. It's just be like he's the father of dreams, and just be like, oh, he says clouds and he can't talk. Be like he's sand. It's just really well. Our Sandman. Yeah, Sandman, bring me a drink. Either or. Just like the mythology of these characters and how it's very well done, very well executed. And it's my number one. What's yours?
My first like on this movie is like you said, it's the characters. These are all well-known characters from our childhood. And the way they handle it, I thought that what they mention is pretty much everything you remember from your childhood, and then they just expand on it. I mean, the boogeyman being the monster under the bed makes perfect sense, and it makes sense that he's the villain. Yeah, and it makes sense that he's kind of the Sandman's opposites. Yeah, so it makes sense that when who's the first person he takes out? Well, it's Sandy because nightmares and such. Yeah, the fact that he uses the nightmares are actually horses. Yeah, which was clever. Yeah, which they're called mares. Yes, nightmares. Nightmares.
which I thought was clever. I was like, okay, yeah, those are cool characters.
Yes.
Continue.
Lost my spot. The idea that the elves are stupid is, I think, funny.
Oh yeah, that was
Because
clever. That was clever.
Admittedly, when I think elf, it is not the elves that usually are in these kind of stories where they're small little things that happen to make the toys. Because honestly, that doesn't make sense.
True.
Yetis also don't make sense making the toys,
But it's funny.
at the same time, it is funny, especially when that one keeps trying.
Oh
and
my
keeps having
gosh.
To remake everything.
Oh my
that he
gosh.
just got done making because it's the wrong color.
Rah,
I like it red.
rah, rah,
I like
rah,
it
rah.
blue. It's like what?
Rah,
is-
rah.
What is this Sleeping Beauty?
Make it blue. Make it pink.
Yes. But anyway, and the thing is, Jack Frost is admittedly like the one character you know of from your childhood,
Mm-hmm.
these childhood mythologies, that honestly you don't know much about, because all you know is Jack Frost. He's
Nipping at
nipping
your
at your nose. There's he comes up in the wintertime, but really after he gets overshadowed by Christmas,
Right.
and then it gets overshadowed by Valentine's Day because that's free chocolate coming.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really think of the Jack Frost thing, but the way they handle this, because admittedly, when they start going, okay, you've got Santa Claus. What do kids like about Santa Claus? Oh, he brings presents at Christmas. You got the Easter Bunny. What does the Easter Bunny do that's so good? Oh, he brings eggs, of all things, at Easter. Why is that good? Well, there's toys and gifts and such inside, or it's hard-boiled eggs, because that's just what they did back in the day. And they're colorful. So yeah, that's cool. Sandman helps them sleep. Tooth Fairy gives them money for their teeth.
Mm-hmm.
What does Jack Frost have besides Jack Frost nipping at your nose?
Mm.
Not a whole lot, but then they make it make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Jack Frost is what gives snow days
True.
because he likes fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That makes perfect sense, bringing that little bit in for Jack Frost.
Yeah.
Um,
It'd be like it's great that sorry if I keep interrupting you, but like they designed him as a teenager because it makes sense. Teenagers are just fun loving. They want to do everything exciting. So yeah, it's perfect they did him as a teenager.
well, and the interesting part is Jack Frost was human,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me wonder, were the others human?
That's what almost applies almost.
Right. Of course, we never get into anything. I
No.
don't think the North Santa Claus in this one
Mm.
is Saint Nicholas, the actual
Right.
existing Saint Nicholas turned into a immortal figure. I don't think that's how it works, because, well, I mean, Saint Nicholas was he was a saint for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Then what about Tooth?
Tooth, I suspect. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think they're all European. I think a lot of them just happen to be.
Right.
I think Tooth, since a lot of her stuff kind of has a bit of a Bollywood type feel,
Mm-hmm.
I think she might supposed to be from India. I think.
Possibly.
Bear in mind the part of her skin that we can see that's not, bird feathers,
Right.
is white. So I don't know for certain.
Yeah. Who knows?
Obviously Bunny's from Australia.
Mm-hmm.
That just kind of makes sense.
It makes sense. It does make sense.
And I'm guessing that Sandman, even though we know almost nothing about his character,
Mm-hmm.
he was a guy who kept falling asleep at the bank. he was supposed to be a security guard who kept falling asleep.
Right.
That's my guess. I have no idea.
So
Which then makes you wonder, well, who was the man in the moon? I don't know.
Just
He's a
guesswork.
rabbit. He probably was a rabbit of Japanese origin. Anyway,
just like
no,
real bit-
correction. She was a rabbit.
Yeah, she was a rabbit because it's a
Sailor
she.
Moon.
Sailor Moon. Yeah.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah. Moving on. Moving on. The scene I absolutely love between it's Jack and Bunny is like when they're it's like Jack's be like, oh, I always thought you were a kangaroo. What? Be like, you're calling me a kangaroo?
Now, I actually do have a theory that Bunny
Mhm.
was not human.
He was an actual
He
bunny.
was an actual bunny who was granted sentience to deliver eggs.
And voiced by Hugh Jackman.
That's why when Bunny loses his powers,
He becomes a
he
bunny.
becomes a
Bunny.
regular butt-sized bunny.
That makes sense. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So what will be like if, because I know Tooth starts losing her abilities.
Right, but she never actually loses. You don't ever actually see her depowered because
That is true.
I guess technically there might still be some hope out there, even if that the Tooth Fairy exists. Because how many times has the Tooth Fairy missed, coming by to pick up stuff in childhood? You don't immediately not believe the character exists. It's like, oh, we'll try again next week.
Right.
It just is what it is.
Well, I remember as a child be like, I lost a tooth. Woke up the next morning, the tooth is gone, but there was never a coin there or a dollar.
No.
I was like, what? I got ripped off. What the world's going on?
Shame, Tooth Fairy, shame.
Exactly. Like, not a quarter or anything. There was nothing under there. Unless my brother stole my quarter in the middle of the night.
I bet he did. Anyway.
Probably. One of those two did. Probably. Who knows?
But I liked the way they set up the lore and everything. And expanded on the classical mythologies we had as children.
Yes.
But then expanded on it and said, here's how this world fully works. And I appreciated that. Yeah, that's my first like.
Okay. My second like would be when obviously Pitch has gone in and kidnapped all of the Tooth Fairy's helpers except for Little Tooth. And now it's the mice. Apparently. So
that's why she still has some abilities. The mice are still doing their job.
That makes sense. That totally makes sense. And then it becomes the Guardian's responsibility to go get the teeth. And then it's just a constant competition.
Well, the whole idea is like
so hilarious.
The whole idea is like, well, we got to collect the teeth, and then later on we have to get all the eggs painted. And they're all 5 having to come together to do this, or 4 at that point.
Right.
That's like, that makes sense, but at the same time, it takes how many people under normal circumstances to do all this in the amount of time that you normally have?
Right.
I mean, thank goodness this is not actually happening at Christmas, even though Santa Claus is in the movie, because I don't think Bunny could build anything. They put him in the paint department, maybe. But anyway,
yeah, it's the
also, how would Pitch kidnap all the Yetis?
That is true.
That wouldn't go very well.
That wouldn't go very well at all. But the stellar competition between Jack Frost, Bunny, North, and Sandy is absolutely hysterical. They're trying to one up each other about getting the teeth, and outshining everybody else. Definitely with North be like, no, it's Bunny. It's this budding competition. I love it. And then they come to a realization, be like, then Tooth is more like, it's like, but you put money underneath their pillows, right? And it's like, oh crap, we need to do that.
You're supposed to leave gifts.
Yes. And the scene in which they are standing in the laundromat trying to get quarters.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my gosh, that would happen. In the middle, like you're trying to get quarters for like every kid in the world for that one day they lost a tooth.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, hysterical.
Where was she getting the quarters or whatever the appropriate currency would be?
It was like a gold coin she would leave or something like that.
And somehow magically turns into the correct currency they would get.
Apparently, it's magic.
Why couldn't she do that with them?
That's them. That brings me to the point.
She can make those coins to show to give it to them to put under there.
But it makes more sense for comedy relief that you have all the characters. Yeah, it makes it more funny.
Granted, it is funnier that way, but it's just these logical things that pop in.
Mind. Exactly. That's what happens when you do movie reviews.
Yeah.
You tend to get overthinking things, or be like,
our
continuity, and
I get caught on logic.
All
the time.
Yes. Logical inconsistencies. So yeah, that's just that entire scene just made me crack up. the entire time. I'm just giggling
Mhm.
the entire time, and it was such a great scene. It's like the comedic timing, the constant one-upmanship. I knew I was going to say it wrong. And just it's just hysterical how they're one-upping each other, and it's great, and it's funny, it's entertaining, it's kinetic, and because I know a lot of people just absolutely love this film. How it's one of those films where it's just goes and goes and goes. It doesn't really slow down. This scene is just energetic, and it has a lot of like energy and just it's just momentum, keep going and going and going, and I just enjoy it. So yeah, mine is the getting the teeth and then returning the gift scene, and it is absolutely hysterical. What is yours?
My second like is Jack Frost.
Good one.
Jack Frost is an interesting character because, like we said earlier, he's got almost no mythology to go on.
Yeah, except for
that we traditionally think of.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually, in many ways, had to create this character entire concepts from scratch.
Yeah,
for the most part, and the fact that we see, his whole story from his memories that they find when he finally sees his teeth and understands, and that whole bit, because two things hit you: A, he died.
Mm-hmm.
B, the little sister that he saved has grown old and died by now.
Yeah,
many times over.
Mm-hmm.
He's got this. Some of these kids he's messing with now, or playing with now, even though they can't see him, could be his relatives, not his descendants, but his relatives.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, that's actually rather interesting.
So I want to say something here real fast. So I saw a fan theory on this. So they theorize that when Jack's sister survived, she actually moved to Norway and became princess of, what is that stupid city called? Basically she becomes Elsa and Anna's mother, but it doesn't really.
That is a horrible fan theory.
That is a horrible fan theory. It doesn't work
connect at all.
No, it doesn't. And the one where like Jack Frost and Elsa become a couple, that was interesting, but it's just like, let it go. Let it go. Either way.
Let it go.
Let it go. I saw those theories and I was like, okay, that makes those are bad theories. That's a theory for another time.
But anyways, where was I?
Your second like.
Yeah, I'm still talking about Jack Frost and his story there with his sister and what actually caused him to become Jack Frost. I thought was interesting. And then the whole deal is like he just wants to be seen. He wants to be. He hangs out with these kids every snow day that he causes, and he loves hanging out with them. But none of them know who he is.
Yeah,
and he's afraid no one will ever know who he is. So when you get that scene where he causes, the window to start freezing over so that he can then draw the Easter eggs to show the Easter bunny still exists. That's his entire point.
Yeah.
And it isn't the Easter bunny the kid immediately starts to believe in.
Yeah, it's Jack.
It's Jack. And he starts to be able to see Jack Frost. It's like, yeah, the one time he's actually not trying to make himself seen, when he's trying to be selfless and help, this guy who's really been a jerk to him for most of the film, and for what we can tell, most of his second life.
Right.
When he's helping him out, that's when people finally see him.
Yeah.
That I thought was incredibly interesting, and I love how when he throws snowballs at people, it automatically makes them happy and have fun. I liked that. That was great.
Right.
So I don't know why the thing says nipping at your nose, because he's not nipping at anybody's nose.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I guess we'd have to get into more of the mythology of that to figure out what that means.
It's just a saying.
It's just a saying. I agreed.
That's what the mom says.
Agreed.
But
anyways,
that's my second like. What's your third?
My third like is actually your second dislike. Is actually Jack Frost. I do
My
like
second like.
your second like. This is my third like.
Yeah, you said your second dislike, and
Or-
now you haven't said a dislike yet.
Sorry, I thought I misspoke. My
I'm
apologies.
teasing, dude.
So my third like is actually Jack Frost himself. So tying into yours, I enjoy that he is a very torn character. He's a character who doesn't know his past. He's a character that he knows the man in the moon did something, and he's been stuck here for 300 years with not any real direction or anything
or explanation
whatsoever. And I find it compelling that he's this very not somewhat conflicted character until he starts to realize his past, and he starts to the conversation he has with North of trying to find his center.
Yes.
And that is really compelling, definitely when he learns that, be like, oh, teeth hold memory, which is a very weird concept. I think it's somewhere in the mythology somewhere,
Probably.
but it's really interesting. And then he starts getting into his past, and that pitches using his past to create fear in him, to make him doubt everything. And it's very well done when you get to the end of third act, where Jack is down at the lowest, and it's more be like he has to pull himself up and to rise to the occasion and to move forward, because be like he learns about his past, and he learns what his center was, is to help others, is to willingly sacrifice things in order for others that they can live. And I really enjoy that, where he does find that center, and it's not in the joy of finding others, but that's another time. But it's just, I really enjoy his arc as a character. It's very well done. And Chris Evans, it's another Chris Pine. Chris Pine. Yes, Chris Pine. There's a lot of Chris's out there,
and only one of them is not in Marvel.
That is true.
He's in DC.
Anyways, yeah. Chris Pine's performance is very well done, and that's my third like, which is Jack Frost's character.
All right, my third like is Hugh Jackman's performance as Bunny.
Who you calling a
you can tell Hugh Jackman is having the time of his life in that recording booth, because for so long by this point, most of his roles were as Wolverine.
Yeah.
Which is how most of us will probably always remember the actor.
That is true.
And it's interesting when you look at his filmography after his time as Wolverine, how it's like every other person he's played is like the exact opposite of Wolverine, because he literally does not want to play anything close to that character now. But this is that weird one that came while he was still doing Wolverine, where it's a mixture kind of both. He is still kind of doing Wolverine as Bunny, but he's also, you can still hear that the more happier Hugh Jackman that you see in some of the newer stuff, the more serious acting kind of stuff. Actually, I'm not saying Wolverine wasn't serious acting, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Wolverine, I still think of him as Wolverine. Hugh Jackman in this, I think, does an excellent job. He's having a ball in there.
Yeah.
Especially talking about, you get to make your toys north all year long. I only have a couple of days till Easter, and it's not even on the same bloody day every year. He doesn't say bloody, but that's what came through my mind.
Right.
And he's get this whole thing. The fact that he actually has a boomerang and uses it, and is like, because he's like the ultimate straight man.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing.
Exactly.
Because he's the most serious character. But at the same time, he has some of the best jokes himself.
Oh yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, like I quoted earlier, that's not a bag of, you call that a bag of choppers? This is a bag of choppers. I don't know if that's a good Australian accent, but that's close. What I'm going with.
It's close. I would completely agree.
He's just a fun character to watch. He's almost, so many times when you watch some of these movies, you have a character you can tell was designated comedy relief,
Yeah.
whose only job was to just be as funny as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And half the time, actually, let me rephrase, 90% of the time, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh Jackman was not designated comedy relief for this film.
Mm-hmm.
He became comedy relief simply because he was the one who was chewing on the digital scenery for most of this. Alec Baldwin, don't get me wrong, he did a good job as Santa Claus, but that role is just not as memorable.
Yeah, agreed.
Not Sandman. Tooth Fairy. I don't even know the actresses. I can't even remember who the actress is right now. She just comes off more as creepy than anything else. But even she's got a couple of great little lines in there. But none of them hold a candle to Hugh Jackman just
agreed
having the time of his life. And that's why the simple joke of him turning into a small little rabbit once all the kids no longer believe in him is so funny.
It is.
He's been this big, bolsterous guy for so long because he's essentially Wolverine in rabbit clothing. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, except he talks with an Australian accent.
Okay, Australian Wolverine.
Yeah, which is...
And then all of a sudden he's just this cute little bunny rabbit.
Rabbit.
It's like when you see in Emperor's New Groove when Yzma turns into a little cat. It's just funny because it's like this big character. All of a sudden it's just little bitty.
And she's voiced by
Eartha Kitt. That's not what I was getting at.
Oh, I know. I just thought it was funny.
It's just the thing is, even in that moment when it's funny that he's this big bolsterous guy is now a little fluffy bunny rabbit. It's also sad because you know what it meant. You know it's because people don't believe him and he's slowly losing his Easter bunniness. And that's why I think he's actually just he was just a regular rabbit that was turned into the Easter bunny.
That makes sense.
He's slowly morphing into who he used to be.
Yeah.
Now that the belief in him is going.
And
that's kind of an interesting way to show what's going to happen to North and Tooth going forward. Wasn't going to happen to Sandy because as far as we knew, Sandy was dead.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I knew Sandy was going to come back by the end of this.
That was
going to be part of how this was all going to end. But the fact that they treated like, no, Sandy's dead.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you kill the Sandman?
Yeah.
Which brings up an interesting thing that this movie parallels. An interesting movie.
Okay.
That we've both seen. Actually, it's more of a BBC 2-part miniseries.
Okay.
That our good buddy Chase.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a very similar concept to this called Hogfather.
Yeah.
And basically is how do you kill Santa Claus?
Yeah.
By killing people's belief in him.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Which is how that went down.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, the Tooth Fairy is also involved.
Mm. True.
But this is just a fun seeing Hugh Jackman as Bunny is just funny in this because it's Wolverine as a rabbit. It's just funny by nature. And he does such a good job of it because he takes it seriously. He takes the role very seriously.
Yeah, agreed.
There's never a wink at the camera. There's a couple of references like the Bag of Choppers line, but that's it. It's like he's like taking those roles as the Easter Bunny seriously, like it's the most important role. Because at that moment when he's acting, it is the most important role he's got. And I appreciate how much fun it looked like he was having the whole time.
Yeah, I'll completely agree with you. Be like, yeah, Hugh Jackman does basically steal the entire show.
Yeah,
like anytime he is vocalizing as Bunny, it steals it. And the scene that got me was you have this big, macho, rabbit. Like he gets in the sled. Once it takes off, he is scared out of his mind.
It's just like seeing B.A. Baracus in the A-Team getting into an airplane.
That is true.
Similar concept.
It is. Agreed. This big guy, now he's afraid of heights. You're like, oh dear, oh crap, oh crikey.
Yeah.
It is absolutely hysterical, but at the same time, it shows the character's vulnerability.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So yeah.
So what's your first dislike?
My first dislike, oh my gosh, they spend so much animation power on all of our main characters, including Pitch.
Mm.
The human characters,
Are almost all forgettable.
yeah, they are definitely animation wise, because it's almost like you could tell
There are only 3 human characters I noticed
right.
that I could probably point out in those shots
Yeah.
of who they are. Jamie,
Mm-hmm.
our hero,
Yeah.
our main human character,
Mm-hmm.
his sister,
Right.
because she has so many good scenes there in Easter Bunny's burrow, and Cupcake.
That is true. Everybody else is so generic.
Everybody else is just generic humans.
Yeah.
They're they almost go token-esque with them.
Agreed, they do. And it's just like, it's when you see something like that, it's like even Jamie is kind of just kind of like a generic character that you just happen to be focusing on. Because if not, be like he would just be another kid in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like the way they design the kids. Obviously, you never see an adult anywhere.
You don't see any of the
You don't
faces.
you don't see any faces.
You do at least see Jamie's mom from like the neck down.
Yeah, that is true.
Because she's the one who says the thing about Jack Frost.
That is true. That is true. But I think just the human characters in general are very forgettable, and their designs are not the most appealing.
Yeah,
I understand they're children, but they're just not like aesthetically pleasing.
For whatever reason, they did not decide to design those characters to be cute.
Yeah,
which is strange.
Yeah,
for something like this, I'm kind of jumping on with you on this dislike because I agree with you. This is definitely one of my dislikes, and that all the human characters, including Jack's sister, could be anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
It felt like they picked these models out of a generic background characters folder and edited them to give them a little bit more design to it, but they're still just basically extras that are allowed to talk.
Agreed.
In some ways that works, but at the same time, I can't tell you any of their names. I had to double check that Jamie's name was Jamie.
Yeah,
because when I was going through the cast list, because I was after you get past the mythological characters, you're looking at it and going, who was this kid?
Yeah,
who I don't remember this name. I don't know if this person's important enough to bring up. And finally, okay, Jamie is the main kid. He's probably the one who's probably who'll have some acting later on, because then. Because his sister had almost like no acting whatsoever. I'm convinced they followed her around with a mic like Boo in Monsters Incorporated.
Probably
the way her lines came out. And Cupcake has almost no lines.
True.
And I don't remember anyone else's names.
Yeah,
because they are literally that little importance.
True.
To the overall story.
True.
They're important to bring up, but they are stand-ins for every kid on the planet in that moment.
That is true.
That's all any of those characters are, except for Jamie, who has to be the first one to believe in Jack, which is why he and his sister keep coming back up throughout the course of the story, because they're the only characters that a lot of design, any design elements are put into, but it still looks like they just upgraded some extras.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, that's my first dislike also.
Okay.
Before we move on though.
Yeah. It looks like,
hang on, we got rated by Geek Devotions.
Woo!
How are y'all guys doing? We are recording our episode review on Rise of the Guardians. We are about halfway through our dislikes. How are y'all guys doing? Apparently, there was just an earthquake in California. That's interesting.
Oh wow!
Oh great, Retro's here.
Oh, fun.
He probably doesn't like my shirt, but I don't care.
Why he wears it?
It was clean.
It was clean.
Yeah, I got thanks for the raid.
Thank you guys.
We're going to be getting back into the review here in just a second. Yeah, I know you like it, Geek Devotions. You're not the one who I'm convinced isn't going to like it. Oh, I don't disgrace Retro. I just give him a hard time. So
I
yeah,
think everybody gets,
yeah, because
Retro
I
hard
think we're
time.
all trying to get on the Bite Me meter.
What's the Bite Me
Oh,
meter?
you have, that's right. You hang out in his stream.
No, I don't.
We all after a while, when he gets angry, he tells someone to bite him. And I think we've all tried to get on that meter at least once. Whether it's good or not is beside the point. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get back into the actual show because we are getting close to the end of the main thing before we get into TAS. So come back in 3, 2, 1.
So my second is like, oh my gosh, the fake out Sandy death. Obviously it's very apparent that it's like, okay, they have this dramatic build up that Sandy is killed, be like he's dead. But I'm thinking like, no,
he's on the cover of the on the box.
But they've done that in the past where a character's on the cover, but the character dies like 10 minutes in the film and you never see him again.
Right.
With this, it's like, oh, okay, you're setting up like, oh, they're mourning him and blah 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 blah.
Right.
I'm like, they're gonna bring this character back.
And let's face it, I bet you I know why they killed this character about a quarter of the way into the movie. Because he's made out of sand.
And it gets everywhere.
Sand, no, I'm not getting to that. Sand has to be animated via particle effects.
Right.
Which are the hardest things to animate in 3D because of how complex they are. All his powers and his designs are gonna cause this issue. And even though the nightmares are technically also made out of sand, they kind of get this kind of not obsidian, that's not the name of it, I don't think. The volcanic glass. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember what the name of that rock is, but it has they have kind of that look to them, so you don't really get the sand effect that you get with Sandman.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if that's why they went ahead and took him out, because that would save on processing power throughout the rest of the production of the film.
That is true. I agree with that assumption. I agree with that assumption. Just the fact to be like, it's very much foreshadowed. It's not foreshadowed, but more it's just like, seriously, you're gonna kill Sandy off. You know he's coming back.
Yeah.
You know
Especially
he's coming
since this is the one character that doesn't talk.
Yeah. Like I understand, be like, if you're going to kill a character off, you're gonna like, it's not Marvel where the character is going to come back. You're no guarantee a character is going to be back.
The Sandman. How do you?
Yeah. How do you kill off?
Kill any of these mythological characters?
Yeah, exactly.
Where everything has to turn out all right at the end of the movie, because that's kind of the point.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just be like, it's when first time watching this movie, it's like, oh, they killed Sandy off. Oh, he's gonna be back. Be like, I understand, like maybe from a child's perspective, like maybe it's like, oh my gosh, they killed him off. But I think just from a cynical point of view as a reviewer, be like, oh, okay, we see this coming from a mile away. It's oh, okay, yes, Sandy's coming back. That's not gonna be a problem. It's very much like, oh, okay, here's that cliche coming that like, oh, he comes back for no explained reason. He just pops up and it's like, oh, okay. And that's the reason our main characters win, because they Deus Machina back Sandy into the story to have our characters have a winning advantage to defeat Pitch. So yeah, it's kind of it's a weird, it's like you see it coming, but you don't know when it's coming. You know it's coming.
You know it's gonna come at the climax.
Yeah, it's gonna come at the climax. And it's just like, be like, it's literally you pull a Deus Ex Machina. Yeah, whatever he said, because I'm gonna butcher it.
It's Latin.
I know it's Latin.
Oh, Greek, but whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, be like, you saw it coming, and it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, let's pull that card. Let's pull out our big, powerful character. Have him come back and save the day. And it's like, okay, please explain what happened. How did this happen? Did people believe in their dreams again? When Pitch is running around full
Yeah.
force, and he basically has Sandy's powers, what it
Mhm.
assumes, but it's just not really explained.
Actually,
and
he doesn't have Sandy's powers.
No, he doesn't. But that's
because
right.
the kids say at one point, because it's after the Easter Bunny thing. He says, "Be glad." The kids tell Jamie, "Be glad you still have dreams. We don't get them anymore."
That is true.
That's a scary thought.
That is a scary thought. Be like, just imagine having only nightmares.
Yeah.
Like, just having a nightmare in general is never a fun experience. But having nightmares all the time would be
Mhm.
like, that's where Freddy Krueger became a reality. Just added nightmares.
1, 2 pitches coming for
Oh
you.
gosh.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there. But yeah, it's just, like, one, it's really not explained. He just pops up and it's like, oh, here's Sandman. Oh, he's coming back. Okay, we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah,
But there's no explanation why.
because belief
Yeah,
came
it's-
back.
Yeah, apparently
Belief in all of them came back. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's-
agreed.
You really do get the feeling that they're all in all the Guardians are in danger of actually dying if the belief
That
dies
is
out.
true. That is true.
So Jamie was literally the only one keeping them alive.
That is true, which is
at the end of the movie,
which is a strange concept in itself.
except Jack Frost.
Yeah.
No one believes in him outside of one little mention
Yeah.
that they bring up every once in a while.
Mhm.
And at the end of the movie, Pitch doesn't die, even though no one believes in him anymore.
Yeah.
So
It's weird. And plus, like, when Sandy comes back, be like, this is when our characters are on the back rope,
right.
and he comes back and then instantly be like, oh, North has got his thing, and then Bunny obviously goes from his tiny little cute self to his dashing Australian self.
Yes.
Um,
His Wolverine rabbit self.
his Wolverine rabbit self. Anyways, yeah, it's like it's more a Deus Ex Machina that it'd be like he just happens to come back, and then everybody else gets their powers back, and they kind of somewhat, it's like, oh, because Jamie still believes, and maybe like one of his two friends still believe, over millions of kids no longer believing in it because Pitch has gone in and
somehow killed everything. Because
yeah.
I will say this is the last bit I'll talk on that is I don't think Sandy was ever dead.
No, I don't think he ever was.
He was just absorbed by Pitch. So when all the beliefs started coming back, he got strong enough to beat Pitch. All the belief was leaving Pitch, and it went to and Sandy was started getting some. So that's why he was able to break free.
Kind of like Jarvis from Age of Ultron.
Kind of, except not.
Yeah, kind of.
My second dislike.
Yeah. What is your second dislike?
My second dislike is the design of Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. It's a weird design.
It is a very weird design for designing a fairy
Mhm.
based. The fact that they literally tried to make her part hummingbird.
Mhm.
I'd like to know what mythology they pulled that shape of a fairy from, where it makes sense. Best I can think of is harpies, but those aren't fairies.
No.
In any way, shape,
And
or form.
plus, you
They're
never
not
wanted to
part of
run
the
into a
thing.
harpy.
Right, and harpies, harpies aren't a good thing. to
No,
run
they're
into.
not.
They're monsters for
Mhm.
crying out loud.
Yeah.
I don't know where they got the idea that this would actually be a good design for the character.
Well, I think in the special features, they do mention that it's just more to the designers. It made sense that the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, would be something that could be very quick, be very small, and the first thing you think of is a hummingbird. But the
first thing-
design of the character is a different story.
The first thing I think of when I think of fairy is Tinkerbell.
That is
And
true.
I don't want you to copy Tinkerbell's design by any means
that
or
is
form,
true.
because that would be wrong.
Mhm.
But there is a general, and maybe they were trying to stay away from the Disney fairy look, I guess. But I mean, we've brought up Ferngully enough. I'll bring it
Right.
up again. They had a fairy character that
Yeah.
looks like, the traditional fairy that you don't think of as a Disney fairy character.
True.
You could have done this here where it would have made sense, and it would be a much better design than crazy hummingbird lady that creeps me out every time she's on screen.
That grin.
And and most of the jokes would have still worked. It's just that design was just like, no, let's not do that.
Right.
I'm convinced the Jamie's sister wasn't initially scared by the teeth comment. That's not what made her turn away from the tooth fairy. The fact that she wasn't a fairy by traditional design,
right? That would startle anybody.
Half bird, half human monstrosity,
right?
Is what threw her off, and the fact that she then shoved teeth in her face,
yeah,
with a little bit of gum on them,
with a little bit of blood too.
Yeah, that's what made her cry.
That would make anybody cry.
Yeah, maybe the tooth fairy is just a little bit creepy,
a little bit,
scare you out of your pea waddling doodle mind if you actually saw it in real life. Not saying the others wouldn't do that either, but at least the others are at least following some semblance of traditional designs for those characters.
Yeah. A giant bunny comes up to you and starts handing you that one would just be weird. I mean, like, it's a cool design. Do not get me wrong.
Well,
It's just,
think about it.
Yeah,
a bunny with eggs. We know what it is.
Yeah,
it's the Easter bunny. You see an old man in a red coat with a bag over his arm. Yeah, over his
Santa
shoulder.
Claus.
You can immediately notice that Santa Claus.
Yeah,
even Jack Frost.
Yeah,
I mean, you watch the commercials. You look at it. Oh yeah, these are supposed to be mythological characters. That kid's obviously Jack Frost because he's got white hair and he's got snow powers. That you know just by looking at them who every character but her is.
Yeah,
because all you see is Bird Lady. Who's the Bird Lady? There's nothing about her design that makes me think Tooth Fairy.
Yeah,
and that's why I don't like her design.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So what's your third dislike?
My third dislike, I really don't have a third dislike.
You don't have a third dislike?
No, I don't.
You couldn't come up with one?
Nope. What is your third?
This movie is over and done with in a week time.
That is true.
This feels like it should be taking place somewhere between. It feels like it should have started at Christmas and ended at Easter.
Yeah.
Not, this is all happening within the week of Easter, and this is what's going to cause every child on the planet
that is true
to suddenly not believe because the Easter bunny didn't show up on Easter Sunday.
Yeah, which is
deliver
weird.
Eggs. Not every kid. Well, I guess if you're not a kid who believes in does the Easter bunny thing anyway, you wouldn't believe in the Easter bunny in the first place. But how does the Easter bunny not showing up cause you to lose your belief in Santa Claus? The Tooth Fairy, I get. She missed a lot of payments.
Yeah.
A lot of times where she should have shown up. And yeah, the Sandman, I get. Because none of the kids can dream since Sandman got absorbed into the Boogeyman. Into Pitch. Santa Claus should still have a ton of believers because nothing about this really disconnects him from
that makes
everything.
That makes
else.
No sense.
But yet he's just as bad a shape as the rest of them.
Yeah.
How is his belief weakened in any way?
Yeah.
Unless the belief in all these characters is somehow pooled because they're guardians. But yet Jack Frost is never weakened by any of this.
Yeah, be like
he only gets power once people some kids actually start believing he exists.
Yeah. Or whenever kids start having fun when it snows.
Right.
Or during a freeze.
And this is at Easter. That means spring is here.
Yeah.
Which means Jack Frost is going to be not without much powers, at least in the northern hemisphere, for at least 6 months.
Yeah.
If not longer. Yeah. He may go down to South America and Southern Africa and Australia, ironically.
Yeah.
And do some winter down there, but he's pretty much not. That's not as big a deal as winter in the north is because of the population difference between the northern and southern hemisphere. He doesn't really lose anything.
Yeah.
Why does Santa Claus lose something?
Yeah,
because by this point, he's 3 months out of Christmas at
Yeah.
least.
And people,
We
kids
don't
would
get a
be
date.
excited.
And people are like, "Oh, I don't believe in Santa Claus anymore." Why?
Just because
What
the Easter
about-
bunnies didn't
Because
show
the
up?
Easter Bunny didn't deliver you eggs.
Yeah.
Why does that? Why does that mess with any child's belief in Santa Claus?
True.
It doesn't make sense.
Agree, it doesn't.
Which means that how the belief structure affects these mythological creatures is not as well thought out as they make you think it is.
Agreed. It isn't.
Now, granted, it was an hour and a half movie.
Mm-hmm.
They needed to hit a climax.
True.
They probably really didn't have enough time to spread this out over essentially around 3 months' time from the end of Christmas
Mm-hmm.
to the beginning of Easter. But how much more interesting would it be if at the beginning of this movie we find out that Santa Claus, for whatever reason, didn't deliver his presents, and that's why they had to get Jack Frost involved.
Yeah, that would make sense.
How about that for an inciting incident?
right? Yeah, because it'd be like
But they
there's-
don't do that. It's like this is a week of, and Santa Claus's last Christmas went well, and his next Christmas is going to go well. The only reason he feels any need to help them is because these are his friends.
Yeah.
But at the same, and maybe he still loses belief because they quit believing in the others.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So here's one, just thinking about this when you're talking about your third. It's the idea of Pitch's idea. Pitch's like what his master plan is to make all these kids no longer believe in the
Right.
Guardians.
So that they'll fear him because they believe in him.
Yeah.
But the fact that they don't know how Santa Claus is should be giving them hope.
Yeah, exactly.
That at least one of their childhood beliefs is still real as far as they know.
Yeah,
Even
agreed.
though there might be doubt now.
Yeah, that's to be like his whole master plan is to, have only fear in himself. Fear in himself. I mean, like the whole be like when you start breaking the story down in itself, it'd be like Pitch's master plan doesn't really work per se. Be like, yeah, it's a fun, exhilarating story.
It kind of works, but it also is working on the idea that once the belief in these characters
Dissipates.
disappears for this generation,
Yeah.
that it will never come back.
Yeah. It's like when they start talking about with Pitch, when it's like
That's not how
like,
memes work.
no, it doesn't. Like, yeah, like something will fade away, but then eventually it'll come back. It's like a trend.
Yeah.
So it's just more like for this season,
You don't believe this. Look how many times the Furbies come back.
that is true. Like it's just like fashions coming in and out of the season.
And childish beliefs like this could come and go because it's not like you've caused stories to just disappear and now no adult or kid remembers the time the Easter Bunny delivered eggs to their house.
Yeah. Well, it's
And
to-
if some kid hears the story maybe at a later date,
uh-huh.
all of a sudden, oh look, this kid has a childish belief in a rabbit creature who will deliver eggs to him,
Mhm.
and that could give the Easter Bunny enough oomph to deliver Easter eggs, at least to
Yeah.
that kid.
Yeah.
And then it grows and it can move, and within 20 years,
Yeah.
at most, they should all be back up and running again.
Yeah. It's more like a temporary victory that Pitch is going for. Well, he's going for the long game, but in truth, it's more of a short game.
And it took him 300 years, they said?
Well, the Dark Ages. So you're looking at
500 years?
500 years at least.
500 years. 500 years it's taken him to come up with this plan.
And the fact to be like the
And it's gonna be-
boogeyman was no longer feared.
Bull hockey.
Yeah, exactly.
What kid is not scared of the monsters under their bed or
Oh, yeah.
or the monster in the closet?
Yeah.
If all that's the boogeyman,
Yeah.
then he's just as feared and remembered as Santa Claus is loved or the Easter Bunny is loved.
Exactly.
He should be just as powerful as any of them. But they treat him like he's been in a weakened state all this time.
Yeah, he's been in a almost like hibernation because be like, oh, ever since the Dark Ages, be like, are you kidding me?
The
Be like-
only only character in this who should be weak is Jack Frost.
Yeah.
Because because he's like the character with the least amount of belief, period.
Yeah, exactly.
Even in our world, he would be the character with the least amount of childish belief.
Exactly. But
because they had to make up a reason why he was a character kids could believe in, and that was that he caused snow days or caused blizzards and such.
Yeah.
I think that is kind of how it's referenced, but the fact that kids would love him because he caused a blizzard to happen, which caused schools to close. That's a relatively recent thing.
True. And
ironically now maybe not as cool a thing anymore because of distance learning. But anyway,
that is true. And so if we're going
killed Jack Frost.
So if we're going off this, we can blame Jack Frost for the snow apocalypse that happened in Texas.
That makes more sense than
2 years ago. Thanks, Jack.
That makes more sense than Elsa.
That is true. That is so true.
Hey, Jack, next time you cause a snow apocalypse, keep it today. This is Texas. We didn't know what to do.
Dude, we were out of romance.
Nearly had the electric grid crash.
Yeah, so thanks
and
for that.
We wouldn't have been back up for a month. Don't do that again.
Yeah, please don't. Either or. So yeah, I just threw that out there. It's like, yeah, because if you start breaking things down in this story of how our villains are doing things and how people no longer believe because simply this and simply this, the story itself, the structure of the story kind of starts falling apart.
Yeah. But this is what happens when you look way too closely into a movie you're not supposed to look that closely into.
Exactly.
Which is what we do on this show.
Exactly.
That brings us to the end of this episode of this review. So we need to rate the thing. I'm giving it a 7.
Okay.
It's a fun movie. It's got some slight issues here and there, but for the most part, it's a good movie. I would enjoy it.
All right. I'm giving it a little bump up. I'm giving it an 8. I thoroughly enjoy this film. Even through this, this deep analysis of this film, I still thoroughly enjoy it. It's a fun movie. It's got great characters. It's got it's like we said before, it's got somewhat of a flawed design of a reasoning is flawed, but it's still a good movie. It's still a very good movie that is highly recommended. That I'm definitely exceedingly giving it an 8. And plus this movie needs more love. I mean, it's just a great film. So yeah. So I'm giving it an 8.
All right. Well, then we need to tell you what movie we're doing next time and ask a trivia question for it. And that movie is The Muppets Take Manhattan. Yay! Now, the interesting thing about this movie, Disney doesn't own the rights to it.
Really?
It's still owned by Sony. Just throwing that out there as I look up some trivia for this one. I can get down to trivia. It's this and one other movie that Disney does not have the rights to yet.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, this makes perfect sense. D-Lip, give me a mark. The Muppets Take Manhattan features the appearance of certain versions of characters that would later go on to form a cartoon that Jacob absolutely hated.
Oh, really?
Well, who are these characters?
Now, granted, I have not. If the show you're referring to, I have not seen since I was a very small child.
I suspect you wouldn't like it now.
Probably not.
But either way, we have some Tangled to talk about.
Yes.
And the masters of the universe.
Cats are on the move. Cats are loose. Cocktails, woo.
Let's get dangerous.
the Eiffel Tower.
The pinky and the brain. Narf!
Hang on just a second. I'm queuing something that I should have done earlier.
Gotcha.
Yep, that's what I'm looking for. I love how you don't even know why I'm bringing that up.
No, I don't.
You'll find out in a minute.
Okay. Is Alpha in these episodes?
The character? No.
The voice actor?
First episode we're reviewing tonight of Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure is Happiness Is. Directed by Joe O and written by Ricky Roxburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Guest cast includes Clancy Brown as King Frederick, MC Gainey as the Captain of the Guard, Jeremy Jordan as Varian, Flula Borg as Alphonse, Russie Taylor as the Lorbs, and Richard Stephen Horvitz as Lorbs. In this episode, a homesick Rapunzel discovers a mysterious idol with the power to bring instant happiness to whomever holds it, but its power threatens to tear the group apart. Trivia for this one: Varian, Captain of the Guard, Attila Friedborg, Ulf, Big Nose, Old Lady Crowley, Seraphina, Lady Kane's thugs, and the Baron's men appear as visions in this episode. Corona Castle and the tower's wreckage are featured in this episode. The full name of the idol is called the Idol of Berfischbergen, which is a long fake word in German. It does not translate to anything.
Oh, okay. I thought so.
It's like the Swedish Chef. Okay, moving on. Eugene is wearing his royal outfit from Tangled Before Ever After when he holds the idol. This is the second time where Varian appears in a vision. The first was The Quest for Varian.
True.
This was the last episode to air in 2018. This episode's title is a reference to a lyric from the song Happiness from the musical You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. When corrupted by the idol, several of Richard Horvitz's voiced Lorb's war cries sound like because Richard Horvitz was the voice of Alpha on Power Rangers.
I thought you like. I was like, oh, okay. Where is this going?
Yeah,
good.
Let me play a better, longer version of that. It's like that way it'll sound better in the actual final cut. Anyway, and Rapunzel says that one of her birthday lanterns has her name embroidered on it, and King Frederick refers to Rapunzel as Rapunzel in his letter to her when she was 7. However, she was stolen as a baby, and it was Mother Gothel who gave her the name Rapunzel. Very interesting.
At
least according to this.
Okay.
Where I got this trivia.
Well, I mean, I know they actually did call her Rapunzel. I know that.
In the movie?
In the movie, they did call her as a child. They called her Rapunzel.
Well, then the trivia was wrong.
Yeah, it's very much implied that her name is Rapunzel.
Why? Which still brings the question:
Why
would the king and queen of Corona name their child Cabbage?
Because it's part of the original lore.
I'm just saying, it makes more sense if, for whatever reason, they didn't name the child yet when she got stolen.
That is true, and also makes it makes more sense.
And because Mother Gothel had to call her something.
That is true.
Besides
Flower.
And thought, well, what name could I give this horrible cabbage girl I don't like? Oh, we'll call her Cabbage.
Yeah, Rapunzel.
AKA Rapunzel.
Yeah, because apparently in the original lore, it was father in the original telling was be like the father was wanting to get cabbage for his sick wife, and he kept stealing from the
Right.
witch next door.
I get that.
Yeah.
But Disney created their own lore for this, and they
Agreed.
don't explain why Rapunzel's name. What Rapunzel was named that if the king and queen literally named their daughter this, it makes no sense.
Yeah, agreed.
It's granted, you're right. It's because the story required her name to be Rapunzel, but that should not be the reason you named her Rapunzel.
True.
You should have a decent reason for it. Anyway.
That is true. It also looks at the flaw of Gothel's plan. Be like, if she's going to just name her name or keep Rapunzel's name and keep the exact same birth date.
Exactly.
Be like, it's a very flawed plan. You think it would have just called her Flower and just gave a generic day.
Unless they had not christened their daughter yet. The king and queen had.
Yeah.
For whatever reason,
Mhm.
maybe because mother was still recovering after
Mhm.
childbirth, and the power of the flower was in Rapunzel's hair by that point.
Mhm.
And honestly, the movie never even says how much time passed between
the
birth
duration
and Mother Gothel stealing her.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that she doesn't know herself as Rapunzel. That's much as true.
Yeah.
She doesn't know herself as the princess throughout that movie until like the
That
very
is
end.
true.
So her identity is Rapunzel, no matter who named her.
That is true. It'd also be like those are very good points. Those are very good points. It'd be like it could be possible that
Which is why
Gothel gave her name Rapunzel.
Yeah.
Because they're
Anyway, we're
Yeah.
not here to talk about that movie.
no, we've already
Again,
discussed it before.
That was 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Wow.
We're here to talk about the show.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and ask the question: what did you think of this episode?
I thought it was really good. It'd be like it went back into the lore, like we was discussing a second ago, that of Rapunzel and finding the lanterns on the island, which is there again. This season is very notorious for being in places for several episodes. And
At least it doesn't appear to go for more than 4.
Yeah, at
this
least
season.
At least. So we get
And really, this was only 3.5.
So
or 3.25.
Yeah, so we find Rapunzel. She has discovered one of the lanterns that was sent out when she was 7 by her father.
Yes.
And it's a personal letter to her. And I just found that really touching. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is very well done. And there again, that pushed into the cycle of Rapunzel missing her family.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really enjoy the story where it's this constant desire to have your happiness manifested, even though other people can't see it. It's very interesting to where the overwhelming desire to have the desire of your heart manifested, if that's only for a while, be like,
Yes.
even it'd be like you can pull this whole great Christian theology, pull out of it, where it's like the thing of be like, it's not the desire of things, but it's the things in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And there again, we know the heart is fickle. The heart is fickle. I didn't mean to say what I said a second ago, but the heart is fickle. The heart has a tendency of changing.
Yes.
So, but understanding what they're talking about is like, it's finding those true things that do make you happy and not material things.
Mm-hmm.
And I thoroughly enjoyed that part of the story. It's where all our characters are fighting over this idol, in which how do you pronounce these little guys' names? Lorbs. Yeah, the Lorbs have.
I said, please don't ask me to say the name of that idol again.
I'm not. This.
I didn't say it right that time.
Idol. That'll work. And so we get this idol that can grant you the desires of your heart, or the temporary joy or temporary happiness, which we all know be like, happiness is fleeting. Happiness it's momentarily. Like, yes, you can have happiness for the longest time, but then you lose it because something else happens. And I like the lore in which they build into of why this was designed, why it was created, and the destructive power it has. It corrupts people. It makes them lust after it, and it makes them very destructive, like the lores become. And I love it how it's Rapunzel is be like she's her desires to be around her parents again and those she cares about. And she comes to the conclusion, be like, happiness isn't found in things. And it's very much true, because you look at the world now, it's be like you'll be like I love watching toy hunters, and it's always the next thing. It's that next toy that's gonna make me happy. Or I've collected everything I can, and I'll spend an exorbitant amount of money to get said toys, and they just keep going after other collections to find happiness in those things. And it's sad to watch when you break it down to what its core is, and it's just your base desire to have happiness in something that you had as a child or something like that, and it's just simply going to sit on a shelf, and you have to constantly fill that happiness with something else, and you're never going to be satisfied with it. But going back to our story, it's that understanding that it's not found in things. It's found in the joy you have with each other, and the fellowship you have with each other. Be like, I love coming over here and doing this podcast with Drew. Love it to death. Be like, Drew is a brother to me in Christ. And it's just, it's a wonderful relationship you have with somebody. And it's not built on, just things. It's not built on be like, I have all the things I've ever wanted in this world. And it's a wonderful story. It's a wonderful story. Be like, and understand, and not trying to just chomp down on it. It's like, oh, because it doesn't say this, it says, be like, you're da 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 da. Be like, it's understanding what they're trying to say. It's taking what they're saying and then applying it. And I'd be like, this is an amazing, well done story. And of course, you have Shorty, who has his little bit here and there in every episode. And it's always fun when he does something silly. But yeah, it's great. It's a great, wonderful episode. I highly it's great. What do you think?
We've all felt, I think, to some degree, loneliness and homesickness, and the desire to be around other things and other people, and nothing else. The idea that we might get sad because we don't get to do something, or we're in a position where we can't buy something we want. We've all been in that position.
Oh yeah.
And it's like you said, it's the remembering that happiness doesn't, to quote from another movie we have reviewed, happiness doesn't come from a store. Happiness perhaps means a little bit more. Quoting from Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. But I mean, even that's not fully what's going on here. So yeah, you're right in that the idea is like, happiness is not everything being perfect, because nothing's going to be perfect.
Yeah, it's not going to.
And if we're going to be honest, let's be completely honest. Where was she 12 episodes ago? Wanting to leave Corona.
Yeah.
Wanting to get out of the castle. She would be just as unhappy if she was back at home as she is here, but for different reasons.
Exactly.
So the point is, she was not happy because she was homesick. That's just natural, because she wants to be around the people she loves.
Exactly.
And she's now missing them because it's been 6 months? At least since they left?
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense. Now, that being said, now that I've gotten the serious part out of the way, let's get to the fun part.
Yeah.
I love everybody's
things
that make them happy.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, we don't ever get to see Shorties, which in some ways I'm also glad we never got to see Shorties.
Yeah, because that would be weird.
Yeah.
It's Shorty.
I mean, you get Eugene, who's like gets the entire the royal yacht, where he is somehow now carved into the
bow of the
ship. It's like, yeah, that would have happened. Doesn't matter that King Frederick hates your guts, but whatever.
Maybe that doesn't hate his guts, but it's more like, I really don't approve of you.
It's a tolerance.
Yeah, it's a very much a tolerance.
And of course, Cassandra gets to sword fight with
her father,
with her adopted father. Keyword there, adopted father.
Yes.
This is very much well known at this point. It's not a hide. It's not a rumor.
Exactly.
I just have theories of what her actual parentage is, but we'll get there.
When we get there.
Max's happiness, locking up
Thugs.
rule breakers, which leads directly into the next episode.
This shorty just bam, 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 bam.
But I think the
Hilarious.
ones that really got to me,
Yeah.
and it's proof that you have to watch these episodes in the right order.
Mhm.
Because if you had watched this one before There's Something About Hookfoot, you wouldn't know who the mermaid was and
Yeah.
why Hookfoot was in love with her,
Mm-hmm.
and why really that would be his happiness, was to have her back.
Mm-hmm.
But she's stuck in fish prison at the moment. So and we don't ever actually get to see what the Lorb's happiness thing was either.
No,
but
it's not. It's just,
one of the things I really liked about it is that, when everything is calm and the idol of Fleur de Shindy Bindi Bindi is not in danger of being destroyed, it's the magic is green, it's safe,
Mhm.
and the visions are warm and nice, and you're getting addicted to it, but
Mhm.
nothing is nothing is going bad.
Yeah.
But
what's-
the minute you decide to destroy it, all of a sudden, boom, there's Varian ready to kick your butt because you forgot about him for the last couple episodes.
Yeah.
And he's going to kill King Frederick.
Yeah.
It's like, how does this make her happy? Is question A.
Yeah.
Question B is like, oh yeah, don't destroy it because then your happiness will go away.
Exactly.
Is what that's trying to say in a
Yes.
weird way. But yet, and at that point, the magic's red. But from that point on, the magic is red, whether it's everyone happy with the
Mhm.
idol, or the idol is threatening their happiness so it doesn't destroy it, including the Lorbs, whose
Yeah.
eyes glow red throughout that whole thing. We never
Mhm.
see them with the green-eyed version.
True.
So, I mean, I like how you do get the calm version and then the angry
Mhm.
protect itself version
Yeah.
of that. I thought that
Very
was interesting.
sentient.
And the fact that I am confused about one thing. Not that the temple that this idol has to be destroyed on happens to be at the Lorb's camp. That's not surprising.
Yeah.
The fact that in the middle of it wasn't raining when it started,
Mhm.
but the fact that the fires are already lit at the top, ready for the ritual to destroy the thing.
Do the Lorbs do this every day? Is it
And
part of their ritual?
Is there some other rituals that go on up here that cause
Exactly.
them to have to light the fires? It's like everything was just set up so conveniently, especially since also the thing that holds it while you destroy it was up there, but yet no one ever thought to have an extra pair of protective gloves up there. Only the one Lorb has the
Apparently,
gloves of
Chief.
Shindy Bindi Findy Bindi that protects him from the idol of Gordish Bindi Glindish Dindy Findy. I'm gonna get in trouble for all this, aren't I? So I was like, it's a fun episode.
It is.
The only thing I really don't like about it is they recycle the dancing animation from the beginning at the end for Hookfoot and Lance.
That is
And
true.
The animation for that is weird. I don't know what it is, but it stands out as almost like it was meant to be slower, and then they sped the animation up.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what happens. And part of it is, I'll admit, the fact that they're in exact time
Mhm.
with each other, which is not how life works.
No.
Especially when you got two guys who probably don't dance on the regular, especially since one of them has a hook for a foot.
True.
But I also, that's the only thing I really didn't like.
Mhm.
One thing though I really also enjoyed was all their attempts at getting it back from Rapunzel.
Oh yeah, those are hilarious.
Especially especially Lance's, where it's like,
oh my gosh,
which is like taking Eugene's and trying to do it again, despite the fact that it won't work at all.
Like you're trying to
Eugene's plan makes sense.
Exactly.
For Eugene.
Yeah.
Lance's plan of using Eugene's plan doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Lance. But then you got Hookfoot, especially if you're watching Hookfoot in the background, taking the hook off of his foot, which he hates it when people do that, but he's gladly do it to get this thing.
Oh yeah,
and uses it as a hook to grab the
the idol.
the idol. It's like, how badly do you want this thing? And then the whole thing where it's like, where Eugene saying, Rapunzel, we really want you to come out here. We don't really want the idol. We just want to talk to you. And then he says, right? But looking back at the other three, and they all in turn agree with him.
Yes.
And he's like, two of you should never agree with Eugene.
Exactly.
And yet y'all all want it this bad. Despite the fact, y'all, once that idol is out in the open, all bets are off.
True. So true.
And we get to see Friedborg again.
Oh gosh, Friedborg. I was like, why is Friedborg here? Why?
Because
it's the comedy relief character who never says anything.
That was the thing. It's been 10. What is this? Episode 11, I think.
Yeah, it's 11.
It's been 11 episodes
Mhm.
since we've seen anyone who was hanging out in Corona regularly, which means it's been 11 episodes since Friedborg could have showed up. So it's for me watching it. It's been 3 years since we recorded the season 1 episodes.
Oh gosh,
because of how slow I've been at getting these out.
True,
and everything else that was involved in that. So I forgot about Friedborg until all of a sudden, Friedborg, I forgot about you. I now have to scrub my eyes. Give me a minute, because she just throws you off.
True,
but yeah. I do like we get all these nice little references back to season 1 because you kind of forget they were there for a bit because we've been on the road for 11 episodes.
Agreed.
So anyway,
so I forgot one thing that I just found incredibly funny, and it's kind of a reference to a completely different series or completely different movie series. So the scene in which we open up with is the festivity with our little leaf friends, and everybody's happy and joyful. Be like, do you recognize the song that's being played?
No, I didn't.
Well, I think it's more its tune and its melody is very reminiscent of the song, the celebration song, which is playing in the original Star Wars Episode 6, The Return of the Jedi. The very end.
The Yum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Yub.
That's what it was called.
Yeah,
the one that got edited out for Jedi Rocks.
Yeah.
Thanks, George.
Because I'm listening to this, like, wait, this sounds like the very end of the Jedi Return of the Jedi.
It might be based on that.
Yeah, that's what I keep thinking.
It's essentially very simple tribal music.
Yeah,
is what it's all intended
exactly.
to be. So yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
Ready for the next one?
Yes.
Next episode, Max and Eugene in Peril on the High Seas.
Oh my gosh, this episode.
Directed by Tom Caulfield and written by Dave Schiff. Guest cast includes Ron Perlman as the Stabbington brothers.
That's what I gathered.
Laura Benetti as Lady Kane. Art Butler as the Giovanni. Kevin Michael Richardson as Ferry Captain and Otter. Jess Harnell as Pickpocket and Thug. Flula Borg as Alphonse. And Jadeo Emery as Weasel. Ironically, Weasels come up sooner than a lot of these other characters. Synopsis for this one. Max and Eugene get into distress and save themselves on a passing ship. Unfortunately, it turns out that it is a prison ship, and the prisoners have taken control after a mutiny on board. The German version of this title in English is Danger on the High Seas. The caravan, which was destroyed in King Pascal, has been repaired.
How?
Good question. Moving on. Corona's criminals, including Lady Kane, her thugs, Axel, the Stabbington brothers, Dale, aka the Giovanni.
Oh,
that's how you have to say his
yes,
name, apparently. The Giovanni. And Anthony the Weasel all return in this episode. Maximus chews up pieces of paper like a shredding machine, similar to how he did in the movie. Rapunzel and the group are revealed to have stayed on the island for 6 weeks. This is the very first episode to have a title card and also the only episode technically to feature Mickey Mouse.
That is true. I found that very
because that logo is on there for Walt Disney Animation, TV Animation presents Max and Eugene in Peril on the High Seas.
And that's kind of goes to what like Disney used to do in their shorts.
Yes. It was very much a very short, very Merry Melodies. What do they call them over here? Silly Symphonies.
Yes,
what
Silly
Disney calls
Symphonies.
them. Very Silly Symphonies-esque look to it. So yeah. Eugene mentions that he used to want to live in a castle, referring to when he and the Stabbington brothers stole Rapunzel's crown, and Eugene said he imagined himself living in a castle
and an island.
Yes. When the Stabbington brothers
alone. Arrested and alone. From I think it's one of the songs from the movie. Either or, continue.
When the Stabbington brothers fall through a trap door on the barge, Eugene gives them the same bye signal as he did when he escaped with Rapunzel's crown in the movie. Sideburns also screams out, "Ryder!" just like he did in the film.
Exactly.
Although this episode focuses on both Eugene and Maximus, this is also the second episode that majorly focuses on Maximus, the first being Max's enemy, being the horse, who has no actor.
No, except
because
just
he's a horse.
And just someone who whinnies.
It's not even... I don't remember who voices Max. But anyway.
Yeah.
It's probably all coming from the same sound effect library.
Probably.
But anyway, what is your thoughts on this episode?
This
high-flying, high-adventure...
hijinks ensues.
Rapunzel being a pirate episode.
So, yes. That is a fun aspect of this film, this episode. I wish it was a movie in some cases. This is just be like I don't want to say it's a filler arc because it's when we get to
it kind of is, but it also fills in how they got off the island.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though we have no idea how they got into the ocean in the first place.
So we know from the first episode when they land on the island, they understand there's the ferryman who comes by every 6 weeks. And we're finally to this point, and it's just of course you got Maximus, who is the Boy Scout. He's gonna go by the rules, and just the contrast between him and Eugene, and their hijinks ensues in order to they have to work together, which is something those two don't do quite often,
right?
And it's a good buddy, good cop bad cop kind of situation for those two characters. And yeah, the fact to be in this episode we get a pirate Rapunzel,
which is great,
which is hilarious. And the use of they're firing the peppers at the prison transport, and they turn out the lights, and the Firefly shows up, and it's okay, nice callback to your previous episodes.
Well, they brought up the Firefly at the beginning of
they
this,
did.
So.
They did. It'd be it's all very good setup.
I'm thinking, why do you need the citronella thing? Just have a bunch of those weeds on board, and that will get the Firefly.
Yeah,
I'll take care of the Firefly easy.
Well, I understand. Maybe the ferryman's transporting these, the whatever whatever they're called, but it's transporting back to the mainland because maybe they're popular or something like that.
I don't know.
Corona enjoys them for some reason, even though
whatever country they've been in since they left Corona.
Exactly. But just overall, it's a good story. It's like you said, it's kind of a filler, but it's a point A to you get A, B, C. B. This is the B story, where it's we're just trying to fill in where things are going.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this is... I want more episodes like this that technically are not, we have so many episodes in this particular season,
right,
where we stay in this one area for a certain amount of time, and then all of a sudden we're in another area.
Yeah.
We had the first 4 episodes where we were in Varderos for so long. And then we're in this one, we've spent 3 full episodes on this island. Why don't we have more of admittedly, it makes sense that you don't have one with them leaving Varderos. Them going from there to the Forest of No Return made sense.
True.
But if you remember way back to our Thundercats episodes,
Yeah.
the thing I complained most about on that show was the fact that they time jumped so often.
They did.
This one, thankfully, doesn't time jump as often, but there's still some time jumps
There are.
that show up in there, and it feels like we're missing parts of the journey.
True.
Granted, nothing may have happened, but between point A and point B, but like we didn't have an episode where they built the ship that they then put the caravan on to go out into the ocean, for them to eventually crash onto that island.
Yeah.
It's just all of a sudden we're in the ocean this episode. It's like, when did y'all get here? Oh, we built a boat before we left. I was like,
Right.
how did y'all build a boat? And when did y'all build a boat?
True.
At least here we've got, how did we get off the island? We didn't magically transport off the island. No, we actually see the ferryman.
True.
The ferryman, they load everything on there, and the ferryman was supposed to take them over to the mainland.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that the ferryman was perfectly all right picking up a bunch of random strangers who happened to be on this island, that's a little weird. Especially since they somehow had a caravan.
Yeah, which they
home
completely
built,
rebuilt in the last 6 months.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
They rebuilt it in 6
Weeks. Which
Bear in mind, it was utterly destroyed.
Yeah, it was
when they
fragments.
crashed on the island.
Yeah.
Which means everything they brought with them, including food stores, was gone.
Yeah.
And yet they have the full caravan as if nothing happened that they said they rebuilt. When did they do this?
Yeah. And here's another thing.
Because we're not talking about, just normal people. This includes 4 guys who don't even realize Rapunzel and Cassandra were missing in Freebirds until hours later.
True. Very true.
We're not talking about master builders here.
That is true. And also they mentioned, be like, oh, we're gonna get a new carriage when we get to the mainland.
Yeah.
So why did you rebuild the old carriage?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of those main questions when it comes to this episode. It's just like, okay,
and that's not even the craziest thing this particular caravan will go through.
That is true.
In the next couple episodes. So yeah. Anyway, it's still a fun episode.
I agree.
Because especially with all the nice callbacks to the movie and season 1.
Yeah.
Actually, I think this has better callbacks to season 1 than Happiness Is did. Because that's pretty much what both these episodes were. Was callbacks to season 1 in the movie. But yeah, this was a fun episode.
Agreed.
We still have no idea what the Black Rocks lead to. Which I think I complained about this the first time we recorded these episodes way back when.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yes. But we're not far from some of the next big plot points, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So
we're not that far off from episode 14, which is like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get this episode.
Is 14 the tree?
Yeah,
we ain't far from the good stuff.
No, the great tree. So yeah.
It's actually, is that the next episode?
Let's see. As we got Curse, and then the Eye of Pencosta,
and then Rapunzel in the big tree.
So we have basically
2 episodes from now.
Yeah, 2 episodes from now.
Anyway, join us next week for those next 2 episodes of the show that he just said. And in the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Bindi shindy bindi findy. And that's the end of the episode. Thanks, guys, for joining us and staying with us this long.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. Geek Devotion says, dang, y'all still going? Y'all must like this movie. Oh, you're talking about Tangled.
Yes, we are talking about Tangled.
So yeah, we're going to be doing the Muppets Take Manhattan next week. So join us for that.
Dude, that would have been that would be going back to like episode 1. Well, like 4 years ago, like we're Frozen. Almost like what? That was almost 2.5 hours.
Felt like it.
It did.
I'm gonna raid Book of Gaming before we go as we get out of here. But thank y'all guys for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will see y'all next week for a movie about a frog who loses his memory.
Ah, okay. I've never seen this movie. This could be fun.
Why don't I have that up where I can see?
I don't know.
Does anyone hear a buzzing noise in the background? That's my fan.